Gizmo's coat was shinier, and there was a lot less scratching and shedding.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dinovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Columbo and Katie.
Join me on Tuesday at 2:05. Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com joins me, and at 3:05 we'll get some answers on what's happening with cryptocurrency with the guys from Crypto World.
Weekdays at 2 on NewstalkSTL.
If you believe Brandon and the supply chain issues are still in crisis, or even if you don't, hurry into Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, for the best selection of firearms, suppressors, holsters, ammunition, pepper spray, and knives. Browse through our constantly changing inventory, order something special, or have us repair or modify that firearm that you've been putting off. Try our firearms training simulator. See the demo video on our website. Come into Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, at southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation.
Enable our Alexa skill. Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com or on your radio at 1019, 94.1, and 99.1 HD3. News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion. Welcome home.
Award show like no other, celebrating patriotism and honoring everyday American heroes. Listen to Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon live, starting at noon Eastern on the Fox News app, and watch at foxnation.com.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and NewstalkSTL.com. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey Alexa,
Yes, I'm listening.
play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Let me tell you about my good friends Mike and Beverly Sloan over at Elite Printing and Packaging. Going on their 21st year in business, a success story that began in Mike's basement and now employs hundreds right here in the St. Louis community. Elite is a turnkey solution for all your retail printing and packaging needs. Custom built to suit your business. Call 636-561-8970 or email elitesolutionsgroup.com. And don't forget to use the code word PATRIOT to receive free design and artwork for your first project.
Optimus volunteers contribute time and money to programs that inspire and bring out the best in kids. Optimists give leadership, guidance, and hands-on involvement to activities that shape young people's lives. Optimists help form positive attitudes in kids. And optimists create opportunities for youth as they develop into adulthood and become role models for future generations. Optimists are doing all of these things right here, right now in our community. If that sounds like the kind of positive action you'd like to take part in, consider joining the local Optimists. You'll have an opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of kids right here. You'll be helping young people develop positive attitudes and approaches to life that will enable them to excel in school and in our community. Volunteer. All it takes is an hour or two of your time. That's not much to help bring out the best in kids. For the location of your nearest Optimist Club, call 1-800-500-8130.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, no question there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. On this Tuesday, even though we have pinpointed why Democrats fended off disaster in last week's vote, independents broke left by about 5%. It remains difficult to believe 1 week later. Now, I fully realize that many of my fellow Americans, as Lyndon Johnson was fond of saying, are not invested in their country or even interested in accumulating knowledge, not being snippy, only stating the obvious. Politicians have been manipulating voters for centuries, but this year the situation is obvious. President Biden and his party have damaged the USA in vivid ways, but fail to acknowledge any deficiencies. It's very disturbing. But millions of voters, especially in the West, don't seem to care and cast ballots against their own self-interest. Thus, the national suffering will continue for at least 2 more years. President Trump governed this country effectively, from fast-tracking the COVID vax to neutralizing Putin to facilitating a robust economy. But Mr. Trump's election obsession hurt him, his party, and alienated millions of folks who remain obsessed with hurting Trump and his supporters. And that was the difference last week. Back after this. Many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Snow coming in overnight tonight. Be cautious on the morning drive, especially in untreated roads or elevated surfaces, because it's borderline freezing. Low of just 32, but 1 inch to 2 inches of snow. You'll see most of that on grass and raised surfaces, but still could be a little slick on the roads. 37 for the afternoon high with some lingering flurries throughout the day and a lot of cloud cover. Just a cold, raw day. Wednesday, much of the same. Maybe some sun early, then mostly cloudy, breezy, and a high of 37 for Wednesday. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. What's happening today? Here's your first dose of the news you need to know. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You know, while the dust continues to settle on midterm elections, we should be looking forward to the next set of elections, and that's in the April municipal and school board elections. Hopefully, the recruitment has continued throughout all of this time to find good, conservative, electable, formidable, competent school board candidates all over the St. Louis area. One of the things that they fight is critical race theory. It's inclusion of things like the 1619 Project in their classrooms. Well, a little bit later on today, we're actually going to talk to the author who wrote the book that took apart the 1619 Project academically, point by point. Phil Magnus is going to be with us in the 7 o'clock hour. Good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. Gabe and Ken in my absence yesterday. By the way, guys, thank you so much for filling in on that. I was not feeling well in the morning, but they had a chance to visit with Stephen Moore, of course, former Trump economic advisor, and get his reaction to where we are right now after those midterm elections. Here's how that conversation went, just in case you missed it.
I think this is the first time we've had a chance to talk since this past Tuesday, so I wanted to get your impression on what exactly you think happened in the midterms.
Well, obviously it was calamity for the Republicans. You would have expected, and I expected about a very large pickup in seats around the country for the Republicans, and it turned out to be basically a status quo election where people voted. It was interesting. I was looking at some of the results from the exit polling that are rolling in now, and it turns out basically people who voted for Biden in 2020 voted for Democrats in 2022. People voted Republican in 2020 voted Republican, and nobody changed. That was what was really interesting, that nobody kind of changed their mind about, so Democrats voted for Democrats, Republicans voted for Republicans. So it was kind of a no change election, which is perplexing to me, frankly, because, we have 70% of the people who voted that they think the country is going in the wrong direction, right? And then they went in and they told the politicians, keep doing what you're doing, because they voted for the same people. So I'm mystified by it. I'm very bummed out about it. I think a lot of the people who were reelected are the people who massively increased our debt, are responsible for the increase in the inflation, are responsible for the problems at our border and so on. So normally you'd expect big gains for the party out of power, which is Republicans, and that didn't happen. Now, there is a silver lining here, and that is that the Republicans will retain the House, but now it looks like it's only going to be about a 3-seat majority, which is incredible, that it's going to be just a slim majority. The Senate stays with the Democrats. And so from an economic standpoint, having Republicans take the House, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever party you are, the economy and the stock market tend to do much better when you have divided power in Washington than when you have one party power. So there will be divided power over the next 2 years.
Good morning, Stephen. This is Ken Williams. Do you think this? Hi. Do you think some of this had to do with the lack of messaging from the Republicans, whether it was from the GOP or from individuals like the MIC leaders?
Look, I think we do need to. If you're a Republican like I am, you have to do an autopsy. Why is it that Republicans didn't do better in this election?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it this way. I mean, we have, in my opinion, the worst president in modern times. Almost everything he's done has been catastrophically negative. You have people who feel like things are going in the wrong direction, yet they, as I just said, they voted for the same people. And so the Republicans need to figure out what happened here. It is much, much too simple to scapegoat Donald Trump. Now, do I think Donald Trump it was a factor in this election? I do. And I think some of the candidates were not great. And I think some of Donald Trump's statements may have hurt the Republicans. However, that being said, I think Republicans make a big mistake in blaming this on Trump, because I think there are more fundamental problems. I think there is a bit of I don't think there's any question the abortion issue really hurt Republicans with women voters. That's become pretty crystal clear. It's also true that here's the way I put it. I'm a conservative. I love doing your show and others. We as conservatives, and Republicans, we do policy, right? We do policy. Democrats do politics. And right now you have to say the Democrats are better at politics than Republicans are. Now, I don't blame this on McCarthy, and I don't blame this on McConnell. I think the problems are much deeper than that. And, we'll see what happens going forward, who emerges. Look, this is like being behind in the game at halftime. The midterm elections matter, but what matters is the presidential elections. And so now it's a question of what happens. How does this set us up for 2024? It's no question Trump took a big hit here. And whether he can be the nominee now, I don't know. But we'll see.
Stephen, on your Twitter feed a couple days ago, you posted a chart showing the massive growth in inflation since Biden took office. Over the Trump years, the inflation numbers kind of stayed, he held serve, essentially, keeping everything under 3%. But once Biden took office, everything soared, and we've been over 8% for a good long while.
Yep. Yes.
It's going to be a long road to get back there, isn't it? And in the meantime, how do we weather this storm?
Well, first of all, I want to make sure that people understand that the inflation didn't happen by accident. It wasn't just some kind of international phenomenon, although that was the Biden's line. Inflation, we have runaway inflation in this country because Joe Biden and the Democrats came in and spent $4 trillion. It is the most financially reckless thing that, in my opinion, that's maybe ever happened in the history of our country. And so we have to dramatically cut this government spending, or we're going to have continued rising prices, and people's incomes are going to continue to go down. I mean, in the last 2 years, Biden has made Americans poor. The average American has lost about $4,000 in income because of the high inflation. And so, we need to get the spending down. The Fed is probably going to have to continue to raise interest rates. I'm really, really worried about the U.S. economy right now. I think we're potentially on the verge of a financial crisis because of the massive amounts of debt and inflation. We will see. We did get a good inflation report on this week, but that inflation report just brought the inflation down a little bit. And, the stock market went through the roof with this little improvement in inflation. I don't think we're on I hope we are out of the woods on inflation, but I don't think we are, because we have so much massive debt in this country.
Stephen, I get your Committee to Unleash Prosperity newsletter, of which you are a principal.
Hey,
it's wonderful, and
everybody gets that.
Well, we have to at the end here let people know where they can get it, because it's amazing. And on one part of it, you were talking about ballot counting being slower every year and rather than faster. What is the reason behind that in a nutshell? Because we're running out of time.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed the end of that. What was?
Why is ballot counting being slower this year?
Oh, God. This is just, it is so outrageous, isn't it? I mean, this is the Tuesday after the election. Or Monday after the election. It's been 6 days. In California, in some of these places, they've only counted 60% of the votes.
Oh, my God.
Arizona, I don't think they've even made a call there, a critical votes. We don't know who's going to run the House of Representatives yet. 6 days after the election. What are we, a banana republic? Now, this is bad by the way, Florida counted all their votes on election night, right? So if I sound angry about this, I am. It's ridiculous. And it only increases people's perception that there is voter fraud going on when you don't count. Oh, look, there's another bag of ballots over there. Where did those come from? We've got to get this. We've got to get this done immediately. And there's no reason that votes can't be counted by the end of by the night of the election or the end of the next day. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's outrageous that you still have 15 House races that still haven't been called.
Yeah, it's crazy. Stephen Moore, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, been very informative for us. Now, how do people get a hold of your newsletter so they can continue to be informed?
Yeah, it's free, and all you have to do is just go to our website, Committee to Unleash Prosperity, and just sign up. And Newt Gingrich told me the other day it's the first thing he reads in the morning. You can read it in 5 minutes, and that's just Committee to Unleash Prosperity.
We've got the News Talk STL Morning News Roundup coming your way here in just about 4 minutes on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Tuesday and Tim is back. We'll speak with David Stoth from the Show Me Institute at 4:25, and we'll talk about the exciting House and Senate leadership races.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on News Talk STL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up. So if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home. News, analysis, opinion. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, at least four things that are in the headlines here today that I want to get to and have a discussion about. One.
Hey, you're back.
I am, yes. Oh, my goodness. Gabe's not in the studio yet, so I was going to say thank you to both of you when he gets back in. I woke up yesterday, and, I get up about 2, and, that room was just spinning like crazy, and I did not have an exciting night before, so it was nothing like that. But, man, I was, trying to walk, and the walls are holding me up, and after I called Tony Colombo and said, man, I'm struggling here.
Well, I thought for sure you're going to call it, work from home.
Right.
We could brought you in through the Opal.
That was the original plan.
Yeah, and then but I'm glad you're here, Mike. It's good that you feel better.
I am. I hate missing any days. I just hate it. But I would not have been making any sense yesterday. Probably less sense than I make normally. Anyway, so here are some of the things that I got my eye on here. Now it's official. Neither of Missouri's senators come 2023 are going to be voting for Mitch McConnell to continue to lead the GOP in the Senate. We're going to hear from Josh Hawley in just a couple of minutes. Also, Donald Trump having his big announcement tonight, 6:05. We're going to have that conversation. And I'm asking the question, I just put it out on the Rumble stream right now. What do you hope to hear from Donald Trump? I'm curious as to what those answers are going to be. Also, you're hearing in the headlines on the newscast at the top and the bottom of every hour here in our information segments. Big governor's race is called. It does not go the Republicans' way either, at least not at the moment.
It's 20,000. The difference is 20,000 votes.
A percentage, a part of 1%. So it could very well be headed to a recount under their state law. Not lawsuits and stuff. It might just be that close.
And just for all those people who are saying that maybe the vote didn't go the way it was supposed to go, legally, I'm trying to be very gentle about how I say it. They should have a really bipartisan count for the second count. Just to both people standing there, let's count them by hand and do whatever they have to do to make it fair.
Is that what are they not doing that now?
Apparently, that's the rumor. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to dispel all rumors, have people standing there and counting all the votes and make sure they're counted and then be done with it.
All right, so we'll start with that in about 30 seconds here. Also, the Blues may be turning things around.
I saw that.
Oh, man. That's got a little bright spot happening after some very, very tough times for the Blues. All right. Well, let's start in that Arizona governor's race. Arizona governor's race, now all the media calling it in favor of Democrat Katie Hobbs, which, by the way, I love it when the media goes, it's official, we're calling it. That doesn't make it official. That just means that you're projecting Katie Hobbs has won the race for governor in Arizona. Fox News' Brooke Singman has more. She was on Fox and Friends first today.
Fox News is calling the Arizona gubernatorial race for Democrat Katie Hobbs nearly a full week after Election Day. Now, Hobbs, Arizona's Secretary of State, is poised to beat Trump-backed GOP candidate Kari Lake after an intense campaign cycle. The governor-elect celebrating the victory on Twitter, writing, quote, "Democracy is worth the wait. Thank you, Arizona. I am so honored and so proud to be your next governor." Lake also sharing her reaction on social media, writing, quote, "Arizonans know BS when they see it."
And per Arizona state law, it's very possible that this is going to go to a recount, but at this point, it looks like Katie Hobbs is going to win that race.
No, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, and so you're going to have updates on that through the
information segments throughout the hour frankly, all morning long and probably throughout the day as well. All right, we'll talk about this in depth starting at 6:05. Donald Trump's announcement is scheduled for this evening. This is going to happen at 8 p.m. our time. That's the first question I'm going to ask everybody here. I mean, we've got an information segment coming here in just a couple of minutes. What do you want to hear from Donald Trump? I mean, I think we know what we are going to hear, but then again, you never really know with Donald Trump. I mean, he does his own thing. But what do you want to hear? And so 314-912-1019. Just really curious what people are going to have to say about that, because he's been teasing the announcement and he's been focusing on this announcement tonight for months now. I mean, months now. It seems like he's got his mind made up that he's going to run for president in 2024. I suspect that's what he's going to be announcing tonight, but who knows? There's only one person on this planet who knows what's about to be said tonight.
Well, he's filling stadiums and concert halls and everything else with all these rallies he's been doing for the last year. I mean, he'd be silly not to try. I think he'd be silly not to run.
Yeah.
You know, but
we'll find out.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to find out 6:05. We're going to start that conversation. And I know Newsmax is among those who are going to carry that announcement from Mar-a-Lago live. So if you want to watch it live, I'm sure you can watch it on his Truth social media. But Newsmax has already announced that they're going to carry that live. Senator-elect Eric Schmidt already said that he does not support Mitch McConnell's bid to remain the GOP leader in the U.S. Senate. Now, Josh Hawley says he agrees with that position.
I'm not going to vote for Senator McConnell, and I've been very clear about that. And I feel very strongly about that, and I've said that before this election. So will somebody challenge him? I don't know. I don't give advice to my colleagues. So we'll see what others do. I don't have a prediction for you.
I haven't heard of any senators ready to challenge him or certainly any senators who have a chance of beating Mitch McConnell. I mean, if you're going to bet on the race, Mitch McConnell's probably going to be the GOP leader again. But I think there's enough frustration that if another high-ranking, well-respected conservative senator ran for that position, it could get very, very interesting. And honestly, I think the Republicans should not have a vote on it until after the Georgia runoff.
Well, I was listening to a Fox News Roundup representative, whoever that was talking this morning. He was saying that McConnell's old, and it's not just his age. It's the way he spends the money that he needs to spend to get these candidates over the line. And he's doing it the old way. He's not taking into consideration in any way, shape, or form social media and just the new way people absorb the news. And I agree with that. I think it's time for a new person to be in that seat. I really do.
Clearly, the GOP is at best stagnant. Josh Hawley, which we're going to talk about this a little bit later, he goes on to say the GOP as we know it is dead, and these midterm elections were the funeral. He's using really pointed language that's probably pissing off a lot of people in Washington, D.C.
Maybe they need to be pissed off, though, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's time.
So that'll be one of the other things I want to talk about is, okay, if the GOP is dead, first of all, is it? I mean, obviously, there's a very active, vibrant party that's happening, but as we know it, is it over? Is it past its heyday? Is it time to revive? Is it time to reinvent itself? And if so, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, I just think that the GOP as it exists needs to really take a good look at itself.
Yeah, so let's do about 6:20. I think that's an interesting conversation. It's 6:20. Ameren is warning about scams. So here we are getting probably the first of our cold snaps, although this little piddly snow is not even going to be on this dusting's not even going to be on the ground by about 1 o'clock this afternoon.
I went outside bundled up this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, that's it? Come on.
I'm walking down my sidewalk. I didn't have to clean it off.
Yeah, no. It'll all be gone. But there is an increase, according to Ameren and some other utility companies, that say people are getting calls, and on your caller ID, it's going to say Ameren, and it's not Ameren. They're spoofed calls, and they're threatening cutoffs unless you give them your credit card information or send them a gift card or whatever the case is. But that's not the case. That's not how they operate. So go to Ameren.com/stop-scams if you want more information, or if you just want to call them to say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Are you threatening to cut me off? Call them. You initiate the call.
That just sounds like an opportunity for me, because I'll get on there and I'll say, okay, I'll send you a card.
Yeah.
No. You need it now. No, I'll just go ahead and send it straight to Ameren.
That's right. I know their address. I'll stop by.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy there today.
No. You got to do it now. No, I'll just do it later.
Yeah, and apparently there's some concern about people knocking on the door, generally to elderly residents, and saying, "Hey, we're about to cut you off unless you pay us." That's not. I don't believe that's how they work at all.
That happens to me. I'm calling the police and I'm waiting.
That's exactly what Ameren says to do, is call the police.
Okay.
Precisely what they say. They say now if they've got a badge that says Ameren, that I guess, go and talk to them, but you can call their office while they're on the phone.
Right.
Or when they're right there on you, do that. But a lot of scams that are happening. All right, don't get too excited just yet. I don't want to jinx anything, and I want to be very, very cautious. The Blues have won 3 in a row. That's how they started the season.
Go Blues!
3 in a row. They beat the Avalanche in Denver last night. Final score was 3-2, which by my count makes it what? They've got 6-8 record.
Yeah,
1-3, lost 8,
getting
1-3
close to
again.
500.
6-8's a respectable way to start the season.
Remember what I said?
Yeah.
What happened in 2019? They started off really bad like this.
And then they ended pretty darn good.
Yeah.
With the cup. All right, but we're not jinxing it. That's all we're saying.
No.
Shh, stop.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michael's Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kenny Zhu, president of Color Us United.
Race became a profitable industry. That's what happened. Racial victimhood. We all believe in civil rights, but then there are people who actually profit off of racial victimhood in this country. Diversity, equity, and inclusion right now, the new hot thing in companies, is a $10 billion plus industry.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The Republicans are now just 1 seat away from taking charge of the House. GOP victories in 3 races in California and New York boosted the GOP to 217 seats, just a single seat away from the 218 needed to take the majority. There are 14 races yet to be called. Well, apparently the Arizona governorship will be switching from red to blue.
Early Monday evening, Maricopa County, Arizona Board of Supervisors Chair Bill Gates told reporters the last big collection of ballots would be counted that night.
We have less than 100,000 left. This will be a big drop of votes.
The AP reports that Democrat Katie Hobbs' narrow lead over Republican Carrie Lake held as that last big batch of ballots showed. Lake did not have the numbers to catch up. Hobbs is the first Democrat elected governor in Arizona since Janet Napolitano 16 years ago. I'm Tim McGuire.
2 years after losing re-election, former President Trump poised to launch another run for the White House.
Trump is scheduled to make a major announcement at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tonight from his Florida resort. Longtime advisor Jason Miller has confirmed that the former president will use the announcement to launch a 2024 bid. In recent days, Mr. Trump has stepped up his public criticism of 2 popular Republican governors, Florida's Ron DeSantis and Virginia's Glenn Youngkin, who also are possible GOP presidential contenders.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston, he'll be at Mar-a-Lago for tonight's announcement by Mr. Trump. Ukrainian President Zelensky likening the recapture of Kherson to the Allied landings in France on D-Day in World War II, saying that both were watersheds on the road to eventual victory. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures in positive territory so far. The Dow futures are up 83 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 128. S&P futures 25 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know how much you're really paying for life insurance through work? I can almost guarantee you're overpaying for limited coverage. I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent for over 20 years. My clients are shocked to learn how expensive life insurance at work really is because of a rate that's driven up by unhealthy people. Why pay more when you don't have to? For over 35 years, SelectQuote has helped people save 50% or more by shopping highly rated insurance carriers. I found a 40-year-old man with high blood pressure, a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Don't procrastinate. Workplace Open Enrollment will be here soon. Let SelectQuote save you money and get you the coverage you need to protect your family.
For your free quote in just minutes, call 1-800-865-2266. That's 1-800-865-2266. 1-800-865-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policy and carrier ratings at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Price could vary by health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
So far, things could be worse. Now, we are mainly just dealing with wet roads this morning. Everything is pre-treated. Some of the untreated surfaces, elevated surfaces could be slick. But so far, we haven't seen a lot in the way of accidents. Just one reported southbound on 141 past Ladue Road in the left lane. This report sponsored by NetSpend All Access account. NetSpend All Access. Get the mobile banking account with perks that add up. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward NA. Member FDIC. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply. Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Snow coming in overnight tonight. Be cautious on the morning drive, especially in untreated roads or elevated surfaces, because it's borderline freezing. The low just 32, but 1 inch to 2 inches of snow. You'll see most of that on grass and raised surfaces, but still could be a little slick on the roads. 37 for the afternoon high with some lingering flurries throughout the day and a lot of cloud cover. Just a cold, raw day. Wednesday, much of the same. Maybe some sun early, then mostly cloudy, breezy, and a high of 37 for Wednesday. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by House Sold Easy. Looking to sell a house fast? Call David today at 314-293-3000. That's David with House Sold Easy at 314-293-3000.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. That's 800-281-4224.
Columbo and Katie.
Join me on Tuesday at 2:05. Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com joins me, and at 3:05 we'll get some answers on what's happening with cryptocurrency with the guys from Crypto World.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
All right, the rest of the week we could be talking about whether or not there's going to be a rematch in 2024 of 2022. Possibly, but we are a long way from knowing that for sure. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:06 with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. All right, here's the question. 314-912-1019. I know it's early, but what do you want? What do you want to hear from Donald Trump tonight, former President Trump, addressing reporters and, frankly, everybody tonight from his home in Florida? Fox News' Eben Brown reports he is in Broward County.
Former President Donald Trump will be making a promised announcement tonight from his residence at the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach. It is expected by many that the former president will make known and official his intent to seek a second term in the White House. Unlike other U.S. presidents in the past, Mr. Trump has not gone quietly, routinely criticizing Democrats and the currently serving President Joe Biden. The The former president has caused a new division among Republicans since the party's expected big wins in last week's midterms failed to materialize. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
All right, 314-912-1019. What do you hope to hear? All indications are that he is going to announce that he's running for president in 2024, but the only thing that you can count on is that Donald Trump is unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm expecting that to happen.
That's what I'm expecting
come on.
too.
I mean, yeah.
He's been teasing it. He's been outright basically saying this is what's going to happen.
Saying it without saying it.
If it's another Donald Trump juke, I gotcha. You'll have to wait for the next thing. I don't know. We'll see. He does that sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to do it. He's been asked to wait until after the Georgia senatorial race. Until that's finished and finalized to announce, but I don't think he's going to wait.
I don't think he's going to wait. I think he would be wise to wait, but Donald Trump's going to do what Donald Trump is going to do. He put out on social media his Truth Social yesterday, saying that he hopes that today, because of this announcement, is going to be, in his words, he hopes it's going to be one of the most important days in American history.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's always one for the superlatives, right?
Yes, he is.
We got Bruce with a comment about
Hey,
it.
Bruce. All right. What do you think? Thanks for being a part of News Talk STL. What do you hope to hear from Donald Trump tonight?
Okay, those are two different questions you just asked me. What do I think and what do I hope?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
I'll start with what I hope. I hope that he throws his support behind the candidate, whoever it is. I hope he doesn't run. Let's just put it that way. I think he'd be a much better behind-the-scene figure and supportive figure. I'm a huge supporter of Trump. I voted for him twice. I got Trump pins still on my hat that I wear every summer when I'm out on my boat. I'm a big fan, but I think he's run his course, and I think he'd be a better behind-the-scenes guy. I'd really hate to see him get into a primary with, I don't know, I'm just going to say DeSantis, and I don't know who else, maybe Nikki Haley or any of those folks. And it get ugly. I just know it'll get really ugly. And then if he doesn't win the primary, when it comes to the actual election, that's just more ammo the Democrats can use against whoever our candidate is.
All right.
So, I personally, like I said, I'm a 2-time supporter. I just don't know if I can be a 3-time supporter. I'm afraid he's turned off too many people.
Hey, Bruce, this is Ken. Yes, Ken. I just wanted to see what are your thoughts if maybe, say he came out, said he's going to be working with whomever he needs to work with to get this thing done without all the, and it actually comes clean with not saying he's not going to do some of the things he did in the past. What are your thoughts on that?
You kind of lost me on that question, Ken. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. He comes clean about saying, I've said things, I've dwelled in the past, the 2020 election and all that. I'm not going to be talking about that. We're talking about the future. We're talking about what needs to be done for us to become America First nation, closing the borders and all that other stuff that he's always talked about. And then he said, I'm going to support, regardless of what the outcome is, I'll support either my run or someone else's run. What do you think about that?
I think that's great, but I still don't know if they get in those debates, if he cannot be so mean.
Yeah.
And I'm not scared of him being mean. I think that was needed, and it was something very important. And if he would have ran another term just straight back to back, I'm not scared of him being mean, but it's just he can be so he can just be so critical of people, just bombastic. He's so bombastic about what he says. And he's over the top, and
I would argue we get worn out.
Maybe that's it. Even the comment he made earlier at his last rally. Oh, you don't want to know what I know about Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
It's just like you're already starting to dig, and that's just something that can be used, in the election in late 2023.
Yeah.
Hey, Bruce, appreciate you being a part of News Talk STL, man.
Thanks, Bruce.
Have a good day.
I hope he survives that snowstorm out there that we were worried about.
Yeah, wind blowing and everything.
Yeah, he's not. Bruce is not the only one that feels that way. I mean, I've
been hearing a lot
that,
about
I'm
that.
seeing that a lot, for good or for ill. I'm seeing that a lot.
No, I'm seeing it also, and I don't like what he says about Ron DeSantis, and that pushes me away from him too. But at the same time, he's been the fighter, and here's my stance on it. We need him now. I know it's tiring. I know people are worn out from this, but the Democrats, they're not worn out. They're loving this. They're hoping that people get worn out and say, you know what, we just don't need Donald Trump anymore. They're begging people to get him out of the possibility of running.
So if Donald Trump says, I'm running for president in 2024 this evening, which, by the way, that's at 8 o'clock our time, I'm sure it's going to be on a number of different stations. I know Newsmax has said they're going to carry it live. If he says, I'm running, this is the beginning of my 2024 campaign, as far as you're concerned, Ken, you're in, that's your guy.
I'm in for him to run. I want him to run.
Okay.
But I also want Ron DeSantis to run. Here's my thing. When the media, once he announces, the media is going to be attacking him.
Oh, sure.
Everybody's going to be attacking Donald Trump. I'm not just walking away just because they are, okay, attacking. I'm standing behind the guy, and until he really puts his foot in his mouth or something like that, or does something very bad, I'm still with him.
314-912-1019. And do you think if he announces, I think he does dissuade some people from getting in, but I don't think he is as much the kingmaker as he was 6 months ago.
I think 2022 definitely reduced his influence, I think, in the larger Republican Party. So I'm curious to see how the party kind of responds to this. Not just the party figures, but the people. Although here's the thing, though, I don't trust any polls now.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
So
I don't either.
then how do we know what his actual effect is?
And between now and 2024 is about 10 lifetimes in politics.
Absolutely.
I mean, if the presidential election were held right now today, I'm convinced Donald Trump would lose. But like I said, between today and 2024 is many, many lifetimes in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is, and I'm not convinced of that at all. I am convinced that we need to clean house and get rid of McConnell, McCarthy, and even McDaniel to a degree.
Ronna McDaniel, you mean?
Ronna McDaniel, Ronna Romney, and just kind of clean house and just redo this whole thing. We got Dave on the phone.
Hey, Dave, you're up on News Talk STL, my friend.
Good morning, Mike. How are you, sir?
Good, much better than yesterday.
Okay, well, I always checking on when you guys aren't here. It's it's like the Three Stooges with Champ, but. Anyway, glad you're back.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks. I love you to death, but you are absolutely wrong. Can you name me one U.S. elected official? Obviously, it's not DeSantis or Kerry Lake. Can you name me one U.S. elected official that has the stones that Trump does?
Ron DeSantis.
He's not. He's a governor.
Yeah, I'm just saying. In my opinion, he's got every bit the stones that Trump does. He's just got a more palatable style. Really, in a lot of ways.
And I don't disagree with you, but Jim Jordan, all talk. There's not one U.S. elected official that has the stones in the backbone that Trump does, and will continue to push like Trump does. Do I like some of the things he says? No, but I guarantee you guys don't like a lot of the things I say when I call in, yet you still let me call in. And the beauty of that is we need someone that is going to punch not only the coward Republicans in the mouth, that's going to stop the Democrats, like Ken said, and I know you guys get this. The gloves got to come off. You know what? It's guerrilla warfare, as Mike Tyson's guys. It's done. You know what? We need to start stealing stuff. Look what they've done. 2 years in a row, they stole stuff.
I would argue, Dave, here's my whole stance, is everybody said we needed Trump back then when we needed him. And it was a time that we needed him. Well, you know what I look at? I see this as the time that we need him. Right now is worse than 2016 ever was. And we need somebody and not only that, but the left is going to demonize and attack DeSantis or anybody else who runs for this position. And it's going to wear everybody out because that's what the left does. It's not just Trump. This is not about Trump. It's about them wearing us down, to me.
Guys, I'll end it on this. We always knew politics was a reality show, but Trump took it to the next level.
Yeah.
He is kind of an expert on reality shows. He had a real successful one.
Yeah. All right. That's why we're all watching.
Dave, we're getting into an information break here, man. Thanks for so much for being on the program once again.
Have a great day.
Thanks,
And
Dave.
by the way, speaking of, you talked about punching the weak Republicans, figuratively, of course. Let's start there. We've got Senator Josh Hawley, 635. Let's do this. He says the GOP, as we know it, is dead.
I'm really curious what he has to say.
I've got the
further
sound
about
clip
that.
from him, and I want to get your reaction at 6:35 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com.
Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin God. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
So far, the roads are reported to be mainly just wet. We have some light mist and some light snow, but the temperatures are above freezing. Pavement temperatures are still pretty warm. 70 eastbound at 79. We've got a crash partly blocking the right lane. 141 southbound north of I-64 between Ladue Road and I-64. 2 left lanes are closed there. This report sponsored by NetSpend All Access Account. NetSpend All Access Account. Get the account designed for your everyday mobile banking needs. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward NA, member FDIC. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
Over the weekend, I learned firsthand that in one of our St. Louis area school districts, teachers were being told not to assign homework because homework is not equitable. You see, some kids have parents who help them with their homework and others don't. Some parents are good at math and others aren't. So you have to be sure no one gets the learning benefits of homework. That's like in my profession, the medical profession, saying that I won't prescribe medicine to anyone because some patients won't take it or can't afford it. This is the kind of utter insanity that was imposed on kids and parents during the COVID pandemic, when the politicians and teachers' unions shut down our schools and imposed senseless quarantines. Newsflash, the teachers' unions, the NEA, and AFT don't want you to hear this. Filing for school board candidates opens on December 6th. It's time for reformers, especially parents, grandparents, and taxpayers who care about kids, to retake our public schools. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't believe the Democrats are stupid, but I think they don't care.
Live and local.
And embarrass himself at that press conference. He's become kind of clownish, right?
Do you think he's going to run?
This is News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
One Missouri politician says the GOP as we know it is dead.
Dead, I tell you.
Gone. Is that true? And if so, how should it revive itself? We're going to talk about that around 6:35, guys. Actually saw a local news report yesterday saying everybody's encouraged to work from home today because, of all this
blizzard,
terrible snow. I literally am looking out. When I walked into the studio, there was a little bit of snow there on the sidewalk out there. There's nothing now.
Yeah.
It's already gone.
Yeah, the pavement's too warm.
I walked by and I said, "Aren't you cute?"
Yeah.
Well, when I came outside, it was gorgeous because it's the perfect type of snow. It's stuck on the branches. It's stuck on your grass.
Yeah.
Stuck on the little boulevard there. But the sidewalk and the streets are freaking clear. So it's just like, oh, look at that. That's nice.
Can I just put out one of my personal pet peeves here? Is the first snow of the year. Can we please in the Midwest stop freaking out about it?
Well, but
I mean, really?
Forewarn had, there was a forewarn alert. It was they had the storm mode going.
Storm mode.
Yeah. We're in storm mode, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
Right.
And the other thing too is I'm from the Northeast, so
Yeah,
what you guys call storms
yeah.
is just like, come on. Now, to be fair though, the snow out here is really, really wet, and quite often, depending on temperatures, you get more icy conditions out here than you do in the Northeast. So we could actually drive on our hard packed snow. You guys, it's just. Sometimes it might not look like much, but it's treacherous out there. But today's not that day, though.
No, it's not today. It's going to be in the 40s. Everything that has fallen is going to be gone by about 11 o'clock today or noon today.
Easily.
Yeah, it was good for my daughter in Rolla. She's walking down the campus, and there are people outside on campus. Running around, taking pictures, throwing little snowballs.
Yep.
Little snowballs.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
couldn't
You can't make big snowballs because there's not that much
It
snow.
was cute. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to
You
last.
remember
you have to go like this to get enough snowball to make one good size one.
I remember my freshman year at Mizzou, and the first time there was any sort of dusting, kind of like this, you drove all over Columbia, and all you saw off to the side of the road that had slid off were cars from Florida, Arizona, Georgia, New Mexico.
That's it.
That's where you saw where, and of course, those of us who are local walk around in our dating myself jean jacket, heading to class, and I had a classmate in my freshman year. I remember because we became good friends after that. And she was in her brand new, obviously first time out of the box or the bag, huge winter puffy coat, and she's from Florida, and she goes, "Is this a blizzard?
Is this what this is?
What? I'm wearing a t-shirt and a jean jacket. No, if you think this is a blizzard, you need to get back to Florida right now. You're not going to make it."
Yeah.
Now, my first semester at Mizzou, I was in Hudson Hall, and Hatch and Schurz was a big hall, and we were outside throwing snowballs at the fraternities. We all got together out in the field, got all of our, and it was a good snow, and we got all of our we even made snowballs in advance, and we went over to all the fraternity houses and just fired them at them. We got them. We're walking back. The fraternities actually got theirs together, but they included rocks, and they destroyed one side of Hatch.
Wow.
The windows were just gone.
Hatch is a big dorm.
It's
by the way.
it's like 10, 12 stories up. And they actually, the police were called in.
Wow.
They took care of it.
I'm sure Mommy and Daddy took care of it.
I'm sure they did.
A friend out west sent me a picture, and they got a couple inches out there. But again, it's all on the side, it's all on the grass, and the road is clear. It looks so pretty.
Well, enjoy it now because it won't be here too much longer.
Yeah.
All right. After the midterms, and obviously the dust hasn't completely settled yet, but we pretty much know what we're dealing with. Are they more comfortable now with another Joe Biden campaign in 2024? Okay, so Bill O'Reilly mentioned this on his program on the 1st last night. He's responding here to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's responding to George Stephanopoulos.
So Pelosi, who I don't believe is going to be Speaker any longer, and that'll be the end of her, thank God, she goes on ABC and says this.
So do you think President Biden should run again?
Yes, I do. I mean, President Biden has been a great president for our country. He has accomplished so much. 10 million jobs, over 10 million jobs under his leadership, working with the private sector, of course. He has just done so many things that are so great.
Baghdad Barbara. That's all she is. She hasn't created 10 million jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not true. All right? And we went over this 15 times. When you start from zero because of COVID, it's not you creating the jobs. The jobs come back because COVID isn't there any longer. Baghdad Barbara. There she is. She sounds great. Good riddance, boy. And this isn't partisan, it has nothing to do with party, but that woman with that amount of power for all those years, how much damage she did to this country.
Yeah.
When Bill O'Reilly can't find the words at times, he's angry.
Yeah, but it's true. And she's so old. She sounds so frail and old.
And I got to help our younger listeners with the Baghdad Barbara reference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
During the first Gulf War, this is back in the 90s. I guess he was the minister of some sort.
Minister of Communications.
Minister
I believe,
of Communications for the Iraqi army for Saddam Hussein's deal, and he was notorious for completely lying and dismissing about everything that was going on. There could be bombs exploding in the background. There could be tanks rolling down the street, and he's saying there is no U.S. military presence here. Everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean,
we're going to crush the Americans.
He was known for that, and we nicknamed him Baghdad Bob.
That's right.
so when all of us old heads say stuff like that, Baghdad something or other, we're referring to someone who can lie in the face of absolute chaos and reality behind them.
Like the NBC reporter that said it's mostly peaceful.
Fiery.
Or CNN, yeah.
Fiery,
yeah.
but mostly peaceful.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful protest.
Standing in front of a building burning to the ground.
I do think that it is interesting that she didn't hesitate, because before she was like, no, I think he should consider it, but much more forceful now. And if you're a Democrat, why wouldn't you be at this point?
Yeah.
Again, 2022 to 2024, many lifetimes in the political lifespan. A lot of things can and will change. All right, just ahead, though, does the GOP need to change? Is the GOP dead as we know it? Josh Hawley thinks so. I'll let you hear what he had to say about it. Get your takes on that. We'll do that at 6:35 here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
Rising crime.
Defund the police. It's insane.
News, analysis, opinion.
They can't handle 40-year high inflation.
The odds of a recession continue to grow.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The Hazelwood School Board will hear results today from a third round of testing at shuttered Jana Elementary in Florissant following two conflicting reports on the presence of radioactive contamination. On Thursday, the Army Corps will host a town hall meeting to share results from its testing. The meeting will be held at Florissant Municipal Court on Washington. Thousands of Missouri prison guards will be receiving settlement checks this week as part of a decade-long lawsuit involving overtime pay. Officers successfully argued that the DOC failed to pay them for their work done once they arrived at their prison for the beginning of their shifts. Starting today, Missouri libraries and members of the public can formally weigh in on an attempt by Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft to block public funding for libraries if they offer books that might appeal to the sexual interests of minors. Depending on the comments received over the next 30 days, the rule could be reworked, or it could go before a bipartisan panel of state lawmakers who could vote to send the matter to the full House and Senate. St. Louis City SC has announced several additional food and beverage partners for City Park ahead of the new stadium's debut exhibition match on Wednesday. Some of the new partners include Crown Candy, Anthonino's, DD Mao, Nudo House, GNW Sausage, and Caldi's. And in sports, the Blues beat the Avalanche 3-2 in Colorado last night. Next up, the Blues head to Chicago tomorrow night to face the Blackhawks. Puck drop is at 6:30 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Northbound on 55 at 141, we've got a single vehicle crash with one lane blocked. Traffic is slow behind it. 70 eastbound past 79, one that's mainly on the right side, but it is sticking out a little bit into the right lane. So get over, give them a little bit of room. That slows things down a little bit as well. This report sponsored by Lowe's. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Provember is back at Lowe's, and so are the savings. Power the possibilities with savings on the DeWalt tools you trust, like the DeWalt 16-piece reciprocating saw blade set was $29.98, now $19.98. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. Offer ends 12/28 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Snow coming in overnight tonight. Be cautious on the morning drive, especially in untreated roads or elevated surfaces, because it's borderline freezing. The low of just 32, but 1 inch to 2 inches of snow. You'll see most of that on grass and raised surfaces, but still could be a little slick on the roads. 37 for the afternoon high with some lingering flurries throughout the day and a lot of cloud cover. Just a cold, raw day. Wednesday, much of the same. Maybe some sun early, then mostly cloudy, breezy, and a high of 37 for Wednesday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
If you're concerned about the current market and the 40-year record high inflation that we're seeing, you're not alone.
Credit card usage skyrocketing and at record highs, savings rates plunging.
It's 100% certainty that you're in recession now.
The good news is, for decades, Steve All and his team have been helping people just like you protect and grow your income. And most importantly, not run out of money.
My clients that are currently sitting there on guaranteed incomes, they're not really worried about what's happening in the market. So they're more at peace because every month that paycheck comes in.
Call Steve today for your customized market protection plan. 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, 6:50, and I kind of hesitate to do this discussion, but it's kind of one of those, it is what it is, because I know St. Louis is getting real excited about the Major League Soccer team, and that's great. There's a new team in town. Soccer is kind of the wokest of the of the sports, kind of woke before woke became a thing.
Yeah.
So the United States men's soccer team, the national team, trying to get into the Olympics again. I'll tell you what they did to reinforce that they are primarily a woke team before they are an American team.
Right. I think it's despicable, but
yeah, they followed what the women did, and following the United States women's national team is never a good idea.
Never.
Because we expect kind of the stupidity out of them, but the men's team has done it. Listen, we've got the MLS team coming. Let me just kind of tell you what the soccer culture is. Okay, we'll do that around 6:50.
At least around here. I don't know what it's like in Spain. And
yeah, well, in the United States. Let's put it in the United States.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There is a distinct soccer culture, and it's very different than Major League Baseball. And it's very different than, the NFL. I mean, I don't follow that anymore. But it's very different than other big-time sports.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. So just understand what you're dealing with here. So we'll do that around 6:50. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:37 right now. Gabe's here. Ken is here. Here's a question. Is the GOP dead? The GOP as we know it, dead? Yeah. So the reason I am saying that is United States Senator Josh Hawley was being asked about that at the Capitol. I grabbed this audio from The Hill. He is clearly really angry about the midterm election results, obviously, and he is saying it is a problem within the entire GOP structure. So you can call it the establishment, call it the swamp, call it the old, whatever you want to call it. Here's how Josh Hawley assesses things.
I think that this election was the funeral for the Republican Party as we know it. The Republican Party, as we have known it, is dead, and voters have made that clear. And in particular, the folks who did not vote for Republicans in this last election were independent voters, working class independent voters, folks who voted for President Obama once upon a time, folks who then voted for President Trump but stayed home this time. We are not a majority party unless we can appeal to those voters.
Is that fair or is that not fair, guys?
Sounds kind of fair to me.
That's a solid assessment, I think.
Yeah.
I think, the attention getting aspect of it, I imagine, for everybody is the GOP is dead kind of thing, and I suppose it's kind of the king is dead, long live the king, where the idea is, well, let's move on to the successor of it. What does the successor party look like versus the GOP of old? And we've kind of been seeing kind of the slow march of the GOP, a transformation. There have been stories on it, right, about how instead of being at least the way it's known, popularly as the party of big business and all that stuff. Now it's getting to be more the party of the working class, individual. That was kind of the transformation we've been watching.
Inclusive,
yeah, all of that good stuff. But it's not it's not solidifying with the independents exactly how Hawley described it, and I think that's kind of where we need to go with this if we want it to be successful.
And from a political aspect, I don't think that the Republican Party is that we've talked about this before, where they're too gentlemanly, I guess you could say. It's a different war out there, a political war out there now.
Yeah, I compared it to fighting an MMA match, but using boxing rules.
Correct.
The Queensberry rules.
Queensberry rules. Yes, it's like, oh yes, I shall only strike you with my fists. I shall do nothing of the sort elsewise. But except in MMA you get to sweep the leg and drop them on their face and punch them and sit on their chest and punch them.
Right.
I mean that's allowed in the MMA. That's how the rules work. So the thing is, if you're fighting exclusively in boxing style, you're going to get beat. And I think in many instances, politically speaking, I think Stephen Moore said it. We're great on policy, but we're not great on politics.
Yeah, and that was a good statement.
And
too.
I think the politics of the way, especially the way the Democrats have been working, we've been outshone on that. 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah,
and it especially should have hit home in 2022.
Okay, so the tactics and on the ground, and I get that, and the GOP is behind the Democratic Party on that. And they have been for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for instance, I hate laws that allow ballot harvesting. I think they're wrong. I think they allow things. Okay, but if that's on the books, harvest the ballot.
It's in the rules.
And then try to get rid of ballot harvesting.
Yes.
But I don't think that's what Josh is talking about, though. I think what Josh is talking about is we know what the GOP is against, and the GOP generally is against the right stuff to be against.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're wrong on these issues, trying to fight back against the Biden agenda. Absolutely. What is the GOP for? And also, what is the GOP's, for lack of a better term, and I hate this term, it's getting so cliche, what's the GOP's brand? Because around the country, are you going to brand it with whoever the nominee is for president, whether it's Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis or anybody else? Are you going to brand it with leaders in Congress? If you go to a young person, you go to that independent and you say, tell me in a couple of words what the Democratic Party is, they're going to tell you what they're going to do for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they want to go with single payer health care, and they believe in abortion rights,
gay rights. Drag queens in schools twerking at your second grader.
Now there's a list of policy stuff, or I should say, more like there's a list of visions, I guess, for America that you can associate with the Democrat Party. For the Republican Party, what often happens is it's most easily described as being against those things, as opposed to for something else. Now, we can say things like, well, we're for free markets, but that's such an esoteric sort of, it doesn't really compare to single payer healthcare as a way of describing what the party's about. So,
well, it's not as intriguing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's not as attractive for sure,
or tangible,
Yeah, but the problem is, I think, is that the Republican Party, especially the hierarchy, they what they tend to do is they'll say, yes, we're going to fight. We are going to fight. And then as soon as they lose, they say, well, at least we've got our jobs. And we're going to have to fight another day, people. Let's get this all together again, and so we can fight some more.
Well, and even when they win, they just decide not to fight.
And then they when they win, they go, okay, I guess we're just going to have to give up some things here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just
get the compromise.
so wishy-washy, and I think that should be over with.
When you lose, and I know that there are people trying to spin the midterm to say, no, they're getting the House. That's a win in my book. No, it's not. Okay, yes, great. We've got one leverage point to try to stop the Biden agenda. Great, that's fantastic. But by all accounts, based on what was expected, based on what history tells us, I mean, this was not a good year for Republicans at all. So now you're going to start to get that argument, and this happens on the right all the time. Okay, we have to win. We can't do anything unless we win. Well, how do you win? Well, you go to the squishy middle and you start abandoning your principles. Can you win and reinvent yourself and stick to your principles? It's easy for the left to do all these things when you don't really have any principles.
Yeah, but we can't. We have to stick to our principles. We have
can
to
you
fight.
Do both? Then can you do both?
I think you can.
Okay,
but it takes a strategy, and it takes the Republican structure to be together.
I think if we look back at the most successful Republicans in history and we see what they did, it's nothing like what the standard GOP activities look like.
Nope.
You look at how Reagan managed to create a positive vision for America and appeal to everybody. I mean, his landslide reelection was a referendum on the fact that he appealed to everybody with his vision for America.
Look at Ron DeSantis.
Having a clear vision for America is the big deal, right? And then you have guys like Governor Huckabee. His reelection campaign won like 80% of the black vote in his state.
Yeah.
There's no GOP character that I can think of who broke more than like 15, right, besides him. And his strategy was, well, I actually showed my face to them. I went to their neighborhoods and I talked to them and I let them know that I'm here for them. And it's like it's not, don't, what's the saying? It's like, don't tell me how much you care, just show me, or I can't remember exactly how it is, but basically you just have to show people want to see that you care, or at least feel like you have put out there that you care. We think that's kind of silly, squishy stuff.
It's not.
But it's not.
No.
That's how you market things, right?
Yeah.
All of those categories, and of course DeSantis, right, where he picked fights on the subjects that they say, oh, you should stay away from because they're too divisive. You don't want to get caught in that culture war stuff. Except he fought those battles, he won, and everybody loved him for it.
But he also delivered something. If you're voting for Ron DeSantis, what is it that he's for? Keeping your kids in school.
Yeah, and keeping you free.
Right. What is he for? He is for your businesses to be open. He is for you to be able to go out and make a living. And he delivered that in other states where people were not allowed to go to the store, or the government picked the store that you got to go to that were essential.
Freedom.
Ron DeSantis didn't, but not just in a nebulous way.
Yeah.
He had a
got
very
specific.
tangible thing that he delivered.
Freedom of choice in vaccinations.
Yeah.
Freedom of masking. You can mask if you want, but you don't have to. Freedom of the children getting to school without masks. I mean, and you know what? What were the numbers? Hey, everybody, let's follow the science. What happened? What happened?
Yeah, what were the numbers exactly?
Let's do a postmortem on that, and you'll find that things that happen in Florida, we wish could have happened in the rest of the country.
The same way we wanted other states to replicate the way Florida did their voting, and actually got it done on one day. It's like we need to get our GOP candidates to replicate what worked in elections around, for decades.
Yeah. All right, just ahead, your national soccer team decides that they're basically woke first, America's representative second. Just a little tiny thing on the uniform, but I'll explain it to you just ahead. And the reason I'm bringing it up is that there are a lot of people wanting to make St. Louis a soccer town. So let me tell you what that entails. We'll explain that in about 4 minutes here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Unfortunately, we have word of a very, very serious crash this morning. 70 westbound is going to be shut down with all lanes diverted at Route A that shut down to I-64. This is due to a very serious crash involving 2 tractor trailers. They'll have to have investigators out there. That's 70 westbound, all lanes closed at Route A. 55 northbound at 141, we've got a bit of a slowdown. That's due to a crash. Single vehicle spin out. 70 eastbound at 79 busy due to a crash on the shoulder. I'm Joe Sonderman, and this report is sponsored by Lowe's from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
It's Provember at Lowe's, and you can save up to $750 on select major appliances from Hisense. And get free delivery on items $396 or more in-store or online. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details. Offer ends 11/30.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Katie. Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch
News Talk STL.
Report cards may not always be the most fun things for kids to get, but they are important. Their grades show how well they're doing in class and where they might need improvement. But why shouldn't schools get grades too? And shouldn't parents be able to see how their child's school compares to others? We at the Show Me Institute strongly believe the answer is yes. And that's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on several categories, such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Now you can. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Columbo and Katie.
Their job at this incredibly upscale fancy restaurant in London is to go around to the tables and hand feed grapes to the customers.
I don't even want to be disturbed by a waiter that's filling up my glass every 5 seconds or asking me how I'm doing every 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. I couldn't imagine someone coming over to me and being like, "And a grape for you, my dear."
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon.
This is Jimmy Fallon inviting you to join me on Fox Across America, baby.
Weekdays at 11 on 94.1 and weeknights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Join us on the big bad one and only Fox Across America.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
I love this song. The Dead Daisies.
Dead Daisies.
At this time, it was John Corabi as the lead singer. He's not the lead singer anymore, unfortunately. I don't think their stuff's been quite as good.
It's Corabi?
Corabi.
Oh, okay.
John Corabi. He was the lead singer for one album for Motley Crue.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, when
Wow.
Vince Neil left and did his solo thing, John Corabi did one album with Motley Crue. I actually, like the week before they announced it, I actually high-fived John Corabi.
Oh, cool.
He was at the Blue Note in Columbia. I'm sure you've been there a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I saw you two there.
Oh, yeah. He was with a band called The Scream. He did their show, and I was down at the front where I tended to be at rock and metal concerts back at the day.
By the way, the Blue Note only holds 400 people?
I'd say about that. I would say it's about the size of Del Mar Hall.
Okay.
That sound about right to you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 20 years since I've been to the Blue Note, but as I recall, it's like that, except they have a balcony.
Yeah.
As well. But yeah, it's a pretty small venue. And so I'm down there and high-fived him, and then a week later, he's the new guy for Motley Crue, and then the minute later, he's not. So I love that song. All right, 6:53 with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. I'm Mike Ferguson, who's wasting your time with old heavy metal tales. Okay, obviously everybody's excited about the MLS coming to St. Louis. It's another, I say major league sport. I would put it on half scale compared to Major League Baseball or the NFL or the NBA, but still, it's growing. It's sustainable. It's got a good business model, and you notice that they build their stadiums smartly. And this goes back to Lamar Hunt's business plan. Lamar Hunt, who, of course, of the Kansas City Chiefs and Dallas Texans before that. Because when the MLS first started, they were just using NFL, or the MLS started, they were just using NFL stadiums. Okay, here it is. We're going to play when the NFL's not playing, and so let's go ahead and just play there. And for instance, I remember going to Arrowhead Stadium to see the original version of Sporting Kansas City. Back at the time, they were the KC Wiz. After one season, they figured that too many potty jokes, and they expanded it to Kansas City Wizards.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yes.
That name, I don't know who came up with that first one, but
somebody who didn't think it through.
It was going to be one of two things. It was going to be a bathroom joke, or it was going to be something about cheese in a can.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And then they became Sporting Kansas City or Sporting KC because soccer in the United States wants to be very, very European, and there's a reason I'm saying that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but their business model is they build a stadium that seats about 20,000 people. That's not a big stadium, but they'll fill it, and the vibe and the excitement is a lot of fun because the place is full. I went to see some of those games, the first year that they happened, and there were 25,000 people there. Arrowhead Stadium seats 80. So it looked really empty.
Yeah.
And it's tough for people to kind of get going, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun in the stadium. So I'll get back to the MLS part in a second. Okay, but I laid that foundation for a reason. You're going to see why. The United States men's national team, going to the World Cup, they have announced their uniforms, which are very, very basic white uniforms, with the red, white, and blue stripes on the, on the shorts and on the jerseys. But where kind of on the chest pocket logo is, it's been changed. It just says USA at the top, obviously, but instead of red, white, and blue stripes, which has been their logo since, we had a team.
Well, I think the stripes were red.
Were they red, or were they red and blue too?
No, I think I think the USA was blue.
The USA is blue, yeah.
And then the stripes that go vertically, those were red.
Right. So it was just red, white, and blue, package.
Yeah. American.
Which makes sense since our, flag.
Yeah.
Anyway. So they've changed it, and they've replaced the red stripes with the gay pride colors.
Of course they did.
And this isn't like a one-off thing. This is the uniform.
That's permanent?
For this year, for this World Cup.
It's not like a, special event
or,
it's gay
not
pride
like we're
month thing.
We're going to sell it and support your local drag queen or whatever they do with that stuff. No, that's their uniform. They're saying because, inclusivity and this. But this is kind of soccer culture, though.
Really?
I mean, this is in the United States. It is kind of the liberals. They have their sport. I don't know why, but it is. Just understand that MLS and soccer in general is kind of a woke person's thing in the United States.
But I kind of go back, to this whole thing. Let me ask you guys.
Sure.
What percentage of the United States American population is trans, gay, trans, the whole LGBTQ?
Thing. How many alphabet people do we have?
Right.
I'm thinking at max total, like 5%.
I think that's even high.
That's probably high.
The last study, which was I think USC that did that study, said between 1.3 and 3 point something percent.
Yeah.
Now the social contagions may have more people than that.
I'm including the people who adopted it. And they call themselves bi, but they only go hetero. Right. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, the girls get a little drunk at the college party, and look at us.
I guess my point. My point is just from a business aspect, you're losing quite a bit of people by doing this.
Well, it's like, who are you appealing to versus who's getting, just checking out.
But in their niche, are they appealing to enough of the right people who are going to show up and be very proud of this?
And that's the question, right? It's like, well, of the soccer people, right? Of the soccer people, is it a higher percentage who are allies? I guess.
I mean, and why stake your claim on that? Listen, I've been playing. I played soccer since I was a little kid. It didn't used to be that way because we were kind of we weren't the most popular sport. But for whatever reason, that's just kind of the way soccer is. Just understand that.
It's a little Euro.
Open enrollment for anyone covered by Affordable Care Act is now open through January 15th.
So now is the time to act.
Hi, this is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. And regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively.
Call Mike Butts and his expert team at 314-544-5400.
Or visit mbhealth.com.
As a noun, hiatus is an interruption in time, a pause, or a break. As a tequila, hiatus is naturally clean yet complex, ideal for sipping neat, but it also shines in a cocktail. Some companies cut corners, but we prefer to take our time as our blue agave plants take up to 8 years to fully ripen. We got your taste at Hiatus Tequila. Go on a hiatus from the everyday. You deserve it.
Get 10% off your first order using coupon code HOLLY10 on shophiatustequila.com.
Are you the type of person who loves their community and wants it to be the best it can be? Now it's easier than ever to do your part. Go to recyclemo.com to see just how easy it is to recycle the right way. Or if you already recycle and want to be as efficient as possible, recyclemo.com can tell you what should and should not be recycled in your area. Become part of the clean recycling movement today. It's the right thing to do. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. While the Arizona governorship will apparently be switching from Republican to Democrat, the election outcome in Nevada, just the opposite. Republican Joe Lombardo, Nevada's governor-elect.
In my travels across the state, I heard from voters from all walks of life. And you know what they said? They all said the same thing. Joe, please help turn our state around before it's too late.
And he tells KTNV that is exactly what he intends to do. Republicans just a seat away from commanding the majority in the House, 14 races yet to be called. In the Senate, another Republican joins the Mitch Needs to Go club.
On his Monday podcast, Texas Senator Ted Cruz said Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is more interested in his own ambition than the GOP's success. Cruz said the Kentucky senator would rather be leader than have a Republican majority.
And that's correspondent Tasha Stevens. Tonight, former President Trump planning an announcement from his Florida home, expected to say that he is running for president again, what Mr. Trump calls a special announcement, come at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Classes have been canceled at the University of Virginia, Charlottesville, the campus mourning the fatal shooting of 3 football players. The suspect, a 22-year-old UVA student and former university football player, Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., is under arrest. UVA student South Wallace rating the school's first response to the gunfire as excellent.
I think that the school itself did a good job of kind of getting students kind of on alert and kind of taking the offensive. Like if you see something, say something.
But no word of a motive for the Sunday night attack. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 199 points, NASDAQ futures 183 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
As you might expect, it's pretty busy. Just slow down a little bit. The roads are reported to be just wet, but apparently we have some slick spots. 70 westbound. All lanes are closed. You have to exit at Highway 61, go to Route A, and double back. This is due to a very, very serious crash involving 2 tractor trailers. Left lane closed due to a crash. 55 northbound past Arsenal. That traffic's already backing up towards Weber. 55-64 westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. We had one clear a few minutes ago, but traffic is still jammed back around the bend. 55 northbound at 141, a slow pocket due to an earlier crash. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Snow coming in overnight tonight. Be cautious on the morning drive, especially in untreated roads or elevated surfaces because it's borderline freezing. The low of just 32, but 1 inch to 2 inches of snow. You'll see most of that on grass and raised surfaces, but still could be a little slick on the roads. 37 for the afternoon high with some lingering flurries throughout the day and a lot of cloud cover. Just a cold, raw day. Wednesday, much of the same. Maybe some sun early, then mostly cloudy, breezy, and a high of 37 for Wednesday. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by The Dental Link. Call Dr. Alan Link today, 314-794-6464 to schedule your free consultation. Offices in Baldwin and Melville, 314-794-6464.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. That's 800-764-2179.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
St. Louis's place to talk. The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, 7:35. I'm just going to tell you right now that I do want to get your take on this. So about 30 minutes from right now, Donald Trump is going to make his big announcement tonight. I think we all know what it's going to be. What do you hope to hear from Donald Trump at his announcement tonight? So I'm just giving you heads up at 7:35. We're going to have that conversation. So plenty of time to get your thoughts in there and think about it and give us a call at 314-912-1019. 7:07 at the moment. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here and Ken Williams here. I mentioned in the past, I have drawn a lot of attention as much as I can on this platform to the fact that we need to constantly be looking for good, common sense, electable people to run for local school boards. And we had a little bit, I'd say we had some moderate success in the St. Louis area, getting good people onto some of the bigger school boards in the area. And one of the reasons for that, and one of the reasons that we push really hard in the last couple of years, is because of what so many schools are doing with their curriculum. Now, at the K through 12 level and at the university level, one of the books that's being included often is the 1619 Project, which was put together by Hannah Nicole Jones. And there was also a book that was written that critiques it, simply called the 1619 Project, A Critique. And it was written by Professor Phil Magnus, who joins us right now. And Phil, you're in town tonight. We're going to tell everybody about the Hammond Institute event that you're going to be speaking at. But let me start with kind of the foundation. You wrote the 1619 Project, A Critique, and you were looking at the scholarly shortfalls, which obviously lead to the factual shortfalls, shall I politely say, of the 1619 Project. So you're not just saying I have a different opinion. You're saying, let's look at how this thing was put together. It's lacking. This isn't reliable.
That's exactly the case. We find the 1619 Project is actually riddled through with historical and interpretive errors about the American past. And so far, the New York Times has shown no interest in correcting any of these errors, even though they're pretty unambiguous.
The event tonight, by the way, is called the 1619 Project, means never having to say you're sorry. And we're going to give all that information out here in just a little bit. So just to follow up, when you talk about never have to say you're sorry, that's kind of the line that that's kind of the path that you're taking with this is the errors have been pointed out. Hannah Nicole Jones has even blocked you on social media. She can't answer the questions about her own book. But at the same time, this thing is being included as fact in so many educational settings.
Exactly, and it's even worse than that. What we have is a case where the New York Times actually ghost-edited its own text off of the website to remove some of the controversial claims and didn't even disclose this. This was a discovery that I made in September 2020. They had removed one of the most controversial lines from the 1619 Project, this claim that 1619 rather than 1776 was America's true founding. And what does Nicole Hannah Jones do? Well, she went on CNN and denied ever having made the claim after the newspaper had removed it from its website. And yet we have all the screenshots and pictures of the original. It was clearly there, multiple instances of her saying this claim before, but she just revises her own history.
Good morning, Phil. Gabe Pfeiffer here. How does one combat this sort of ability to gaslight constantly? How do you get around people who are willing to completely throw out the reality that you see with your eyes?
Well, that's the real trick here is we have to stick to the facts. We have to stick to evidence. So I've been pretty relentless in pointing out these errors, even though the New York Times itself doesn't want to do anything to correct them. It's a matter of just holding their feet to the fire, and yes, that's going to make them mad. Yes, that makes Nicole Hannah Jones very reluctant to engage someone like me, even though she tweets about me constantly, which is one of the oddities here. But it's presenting the historical record in clear and transparent ways that students in the classroom would be able to read the evidence itself, read the original sources and documents, and figure out, quite frankly, that this person is lying. Quite frankly, that the New York Times has misrepresented basic truths about American history.
We are visiting with Phil Magnus, who is a senior research faculty at the American Institute for Economic Research. He's in St. Louis, and he's going to be speaking tonight at a Hammond Institute event, and we'll tell you where to get all the information about that if you want to attend. That's going to be, I think, really, I think it's going to be a really thought-provoking conversation. So, Phil, let's talk about what is going to happen this evening. Somebody may say, okay, yep, we know the 1619 Project, boy, we don't like that stuff, and we're against it, but this is a little deeper conversation on this. What are we going to be equipped with and walk away from tonight's event if somebody goes out to hear you speak and ask you questions, because there's a Q&A part too?
Yeah, so basically I'm going to walk through the history of how the 1619 Project started as a controversial but and somewhat misguided journalism venture, but really kind of messed up the way that it handled American history in the response, in the fallout to the criticism. So if we go all the way back to August 2019 when this was first published, I was a mild critic at the time, pointed out that it had some interpretive and factual errors, but at least it was raising some interesting questions about American history. And really what we see is over the months and years now that followed, the New York Times doubled down, tripled down on several of the errors, and it's really that was where I argued that the 1619 Project goes off the rails. So one example of my own work, so I wrote a book on Abraham Lincoln and the colonization movement to basically move freed slaves back to Africa or into other places in the tropics. And this book was actually cited by Nicole Hannah-Jones early on in the fallout from the 1619 Project. She tweeted out a link to my book and said, hey, look, this proves that my interpretation of Abraham Lincoln is right. A few weeks later, she figured out that I was the author and I had been a critic of some other parts of the 1619 Project. So she goes through and she deletes all the tweets and reverses course and starts attacking me personally by name. So I had committed the sin of criticizing the 1619 Project, so my citation gets purged from it. And I think she eventually replaced it with a citation to Ibram X. Kendi's book, arguing the opposite of this. So it's completely playing games with the scholarly side to reward people who praise her and penalize people who criticize her, even though that criticism is based in fact and is merited.
Phil, I think the narrative problems with the 1619 projects are pretty evident, that they create a false narrative about America's founding and kind of draw that into our current day politics. But isn't there a larger narrative that's kind of attached to this, a larger goal here that perhaps crosses into Marxism?
Absolutely. So this is the economics of the 1619 Project, which has been a major focus of mine. Nicole Hannah-Jones used a sociologist from Princeton University by the name of Matthew Desmond to write the main chapter on economics and capitalism. And the thesis of it is essentially that slavery and American capitalism are wedded at the hip, that slavery is responsible for the United States being a wealthy nation. The problem is this is based on some really shoddy historical work, some bad statistics, bad interpretation and analysis that economists have almost universally panned, but the New York Times isn't interested in accurately representing some of the data that they're doing, so they just run with this narrative. And if you read the longer book form version of the 1619 Project, Desmond really elevates this to the top of his argument. He basically says, even at one point, that the problem with slavery is that Karl Marx had predicted the laboring class would attain class consciousness and bring about a socialist revolution. But the problem with slavery is it divided the laboring class into black and white, free and unfree, and that prevented labor consciousness from arising as it was supposed to elsewhere in the world.
So in addition to that, slavery is antithetical to actual true capitalism and certainly antithetical to all free markets. But let's not let that muddy the waters, right, Phil?
Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, you have slave owners in the 1850s announcing slavery is the perfect system of socialism or communism in the world because it brings order, it tells the workers where they belong. You have slave owners in the 1850s and 60s saying that Adam Smith and the doctrines of free market capitalism are at war with slavery. And you never see any of this in the 1619 Project.
So just to wrap up, then I want to give the information about where you're going to be this evening, because I think people are going to hear this. There are people who critique and write reviews of books and agree or disagree. Why is it so important to make sure that this particular book and all of its errors and all of its faults stays kind of in the spotlight and make sure that people understand all the problems with it?
Well, since the moment it appeared in print, the New York Times has pushed an aggressive campaign to get this into K-12 classrooms. They released it simultaneously with the classroom curriculum. This is a well-funded effort to try to bring this into the classroom as the new way that we teach American history. Well, if you care about truth, you care about basic factuality and evidence, this is like putting a mythical version, a comic book version of American history into the classroom and asking students to interpret the United States past based on error. So we're really actually going up against a very well-funded, large journalistic operation that has not paid basic attention to facts and standards of evidence, and yet that's what's being put forth as something that should be in the classroom.
Yeah, and there are actually grants being offered to public schools to include the 1619 Project in their curricula in the schools. All right, the Hammond Institute event, which you can learn more about this, is at hammondinstitute.org. It is tonight happening at the Le Meridian, St. Louis in Clayton, which is on Bonhomme Avenue. So hammondinstitute.org, and you can get all the information. Doors open at 5:30. Program begins at 6. It is all part of the Langdenberg Memorial Speaker Series. Phil, good to chat with you again, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts on that. Love to hear it. Don't forget, 7:35. I want to ask the question, what do you hope to hear from Donald Trump and his announcement tonight? We'll get to that in just a little bit. But right now, got time to get your reaction. I think it's going to be a fascinating event. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
If you're on I-70 westbound, you have to exit onto 61 north due to a very, very serious crash. The roadway is going to be shut down for some time. You'll have to go up to Route A and double back down, and that's going to take a long time because 61's jammed coming down from Flint Hill. 55 pockets most of the way from Weber to Arsenal due to an earlier crash we had in the construction zone. 64-55 westbound's heavy and slow from the split to the Poplar Street Bridge. That's due to an earlier crash. 270 north slowed down gravel most of the way to Manchester. 70 east, it's Bryan Road to 79. This support sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com. Tony Colombo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, and I really mean all your dental needs. Dr. Boscia focuses on utilizing the latest technology to pass along the benefits and huge number of services to his patients, which saves you time, money, and reduces discomfort in many cases. He also focuses on your convenience by offering early morning and evening appointments to limit disruption to you and your kid's schedule, and to being available for same-day and emergency treatment. A broken or infected tooth can shut down your entire life, and that's why Dr. Boscia can usually treat you the same day you call about an issue, right there in the office without you having to be referred or make additional appointments with a specialist. In almost every case, Dr. Boscia is the only dental professional you need, and that's why Christine and I trust him with our family. Learn about all those great services and see if he's right for your family by visiting newcreationdentalcare.com. That's newcreationdentalcare.com.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here for the best and brand new St. Louis sports bar experience in the entire St. Louis region, Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge, Missouri, located just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. 30 TVs, a huge game room, a great outdoor patio, the Sunset Patio, complete with the Sunset Stage and the train station bar, serving the famous Johnny Dow's chicken wings and the best barbecue in town. Open 6 days a week, serving lunch and dinner. Check it all out on the web, jhideout.com. Johnny's Hideout STL on Facebook. That's Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge.
Fox News commentary.
More troubles ahead for the happiest place on earth? Go woke, go broke, Disney. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Starting to realize your small business is a little overwhelmed by the holiday rush? It's still not too late to get all of your shipping and mailing under control with Stamps.com. Sign up right now, and you'll be printing your own postage in just minutes with discounted USPS and UPS shipping rates. Just go to Stamps.com. Click the mic at the top of the page and use code BUSINESS for a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, code BUSINESS.
You'd think the holidays would be a plentiful time of year for Disney, but not so much. The company has announced tough and uncomfortable decisions coming down the pike, like a hiring freeze and layoffs. Disney CEO says these staff reductions are necessary to cut costs after a disappointing quarter. There are a variety of reasons for this. The whole dang country is struggling through Bidenflation and an employee shortage created by an excess in worker laziness. But this isn't just Biden's economy at play. Disney park tickets have skyrocketed 3,871% in 50 years. Middle-class families just can't afford it. And furthermore, going woke and unsuccessfully taking on the governor of the state you're based in probably doesn't help matters. Disney, like the rest of these woke companies, needs to get back in touch with its customers and have a come-to-Jesus moment. It's a shame one of the most iconic brands in history is skipping down this path. I'm Tommy Lahren.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dial off to you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
All right, I need to make a correction here because I messed something up.
Oh, yeah.
The Phil Magnus event, he is in town right now, by the way.
Right.
But the Phil Magnus event is actually tomorrow, not tonight.
Right.
It is tomorrow.
The 16th.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tomorrow,
thanks to listener Steve for
Steve, thank you very
bringing it
much.
to our
And
attention.
I was staring right at the right thing on the Hammond Institute website. I have no idea why I said tonight. Okay, so hammondinstitute.org is where you can get more information. It's one of those things where you can get tickets. I mean, they're free, but you can reserve a ticket to make sure that you go in case there's a full house, which could be.
Yeah.
But hammondinstitute.org, and we'll very likely replay that conversation tomorrow morning at 5:35, so people can hear that right before they decide to head out. I think it's going to be fascinating. I really do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
You definitely got to check that
Phil
out.
and Rachel and I are running so many of the same circles. It's always fun to chat with Phil.
It needs some exposure that make people aware.
Yeah, without a doubt. But there's a Q&A session. And as you heard, I mean, Phil will take whatever questions you want to ask him.
All comers.
On that. So, yeah. So tomorrow night, doors open at 5:30. Event starts at 6. I think that's absolutely going to be fascinating. By the way, check out News Talk STL podcasts and our social media. For instance, that conversation with Phil Magnus is going to be posted on our podcast probably within about the next 2 or 2.5 hours. So you can send that to somebody who anybody who wants to yell, yeah, you just don't want us to teach kids American history, the ugly parts of it. Well, no, Phil Magnus is all for that, and his critique is saying, yeah, we want to teach accurate history, which is why 1619 projects should not be included in anything.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
All right. It was a very, very bad day for one of the Democrats' biggest donors. And when I say bad day, I mean like bankruptcy kind of bad day.
Mhm.
And so here's what's happening is a Democratic donor, cryptocurrency billionaire, is now bankrupt, according to his court filings. Fox News' Kevin Corke was on Fox and Friends this morning and has this conversation, has this story.
Joe Biden's second biggest donor, FTX cryptocurrency billionaire wonderkin Sam Bankman-Fried, saw his business file for bankruptcy just days after the election, but not before pumping $40 million into the Democratic Party's coffers to spend on so-called get out the vote initiatives and other ballot harvesting ground games for the midterms.
And he gave another $27 million to something called the Protect Our Future PAC. And, of course, that is from Fox News Digital. So, man, you probably are thinking by Tuesday that all of that spending probably made a difference in the elections as far as getting out the vote, and that was very effective. The Democrats are far so much more effective at that than Republicans are, and then this whole fraud thing happens, and then within 48 hours, the guy is filing bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And I have given my misgivings about cryptocurrency because I still don't understand it, and nobody's been able to explain it to me why the cryptocurrency has any value itself. I understand online banking. That's all I do. But that's another story here. But you've got apparently a lot of good old-fashioned fraud in the brand new updated technology of cryptocurrency, and this FTX organization. I have a feeling once they really dig into it, you've got probably huge amounts of fraud that are going to be discovered. And there's going to be people not just go bankrupt. I wouldn't be surprised if there are criminal prosecutions.
Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried is also the guy who said he was going to give all of his billions away. He just I'm just going to give it away.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Now to the crypto thing, one of the interesting things that happened because FTX was such a big presence in the crypto world, its fall has had a an effect on all other cryptocurrencies. Even though I don't think it's related to the cryptocurrency itself, it's just that it's a major player in the industry. It's kind of like when there's a shock to the market, for some odd reasons, like, well, why is this stock falling? Because that guy over there had trouble with his business. Well, they're all kind of interconnected. It all kind of leads to a feeling of unease with the market itself. The thing that always gets me about markets is it's related to people's feelings also. I mean, you can do all the analysis you want. You can understand everything, all the underlying commodities and all that stuff, all you want. But ultimately, people's feelings kind of reign in these markets, and it shook a lot of people's confidence. And a lot of people who were once billionaires are now millionaires, and a lot of millionaires are now thousandaires, and a lot of people and a lot of people who had just a small nest egg in kind of tucked away in crypto are now hoping desperately that the market comes back. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and this, like I said, this isn't about the actual cryptocurrency itself. This is about this company.
Yeah, right. They were a trading company, I believe. Like they were a trading platform for crypto.
And it's in its infancy as far as Dogecoin, Bitcoin, whatever that is, and everybody relies on these different groups like that for it to grow. And if something like takes a hit like this, I mean, this guy, it was $1 billion that he just took out of the company. Or $10 billion, right, and put into his private company.
There was I think it was $1 to $2 billion that has gone missing. So
$1 billion went missing, but he took $10 billion.
I had it around here somewhere.
It's like, did you look in the refrigerator? Sometimes you just leave things in the refrigerator that you weren't thinking. No, seriously. According to their books, $1 billion left this company and was supposed to go to the other company, but the other company isn't showing that they received it, so it disappeared. And I think it's that fell down a Democrat hole. I think.
Yeah, according to Reuters, the billionaire showed the heads of the company's regulatory and legal team spreadsheets that indicated FTX had transferred $10 billion from FTX to Bankman-Fried's quantitative crypto trading company, Alameda Research. So he was
$10 billion.
$10 billion.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He was taking that money out of that company and said, I'm going to put it in mine.
Oh boy,
Goes
here
in
we
mine.
go. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all crazy.
And of course, you've got some politicians already like, we need to crack down and regulate. Okay, well, it's fraud. Apparently, there's already been a tremendous amount of law breaking.
Yeah.
And so if we're investigating the law breaking, you don't need to add new layers of law to it. If you've got I'm saying I don't understand cryptocurrency. I'm not saying I'm against it.
Sure.
I'm just saying I don't understand it. But I know that if the government decides, you know what, we need some more laws, you're not going to have a free market very long.
No.
Yeah. Whenever the government says we need more laws, you should say shut up.
Yes.
Right.
No, we don't.
I mean, isn't it the foundation of cryptocurrency not to have all that?
Yeah.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I heard somebody early on say, well, this cryptocurrency, this is just so you can hide money from the government. I'm like, well, now I'm interested.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
It's like the answer to that
They've been
is
doing it for years.
yes. Screw you.
Tell me more.
They go overseas with their money.
Yes.
Why can't we?
All right, big question for you. 314-912-1019. Donald Trump making an announcement tonight. We all think we know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost pretty sure we know what it is. But what do you want to hear from Donald Trump tonight? We'll talk about that just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Then at 7:50, we're going to play a very family-friendly version of Would You Rather.
Oh, fun.
Oh, yes, it is. Thanksgiving thing.
Oh.
We're doing it. Ken's like, what the hell are you talking about? Yep, we're going to do it.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Katie reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. A jury awarded $1.7 million on Friday to two women who said they faced discrimination while working as salespeople at Mercedes-Benz of St. Louis at Hampton and 40. The women claim they were called derogatory names, kept from getting sales and promotions, and required to unfairly split commissions with their male colleagues. According to a Facebook post made by Maryland Heights Police, scammers are creating fake profiles pretending to be the police department and posting links asking followers to buy merchandise with the department's logo on it. The department is asking anyone who sees one of these fake posts to report it as spam. The Missouri Botanical Gardens annual light show called the Garden Glow is nominated for a USA Today's Reader's Choice Award for Holiday Garden Lights Tour. This round of voting goes until December 5th, and the top 10 winners will be announced on December 16th. The Muni Theater in Forest Park announced their 7-show lineup for the upcoming 105th summer season. Shows include Sister Act, Chess, Rent, and Beauty and the Beast. Pop star Lizzo announced she is coming to Enterprise Center on April 25th for her special tour. General tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. A week before Black Friday, the St. Louis Cardinals are celebrating Red Friday. Ticket packages and all-inclusive tickets for the 2023 season will go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Fans can purchase 5, 6, and 10-game packs. 5-game packs start at just $54. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to newstalkstl.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
I-70 westbound will continue to be shut down for the rest of the morning. We've had a very bad crash. All lanes will be diverted off at Highway 61. You'll have to go north and double back from Route A, and that's going to take a while. 55 north, a lot of slow traffic. Weber into South Broadway due to an earlier crash. 55-64 westbound is pretty slow. 3rd Street to the Poplar Street Bridge. Otherwise, volume 270 north, 55 up to Manchester has pockets. Add about 9 minutes to your commute. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Snow coming in overnight tonight. Be cautious on the morning drive, especially in untreated roads or elevated surfaces because it's borderline freezing, a low of just 32, but 1 inch to 2 inches of snow. You'll see most of that on grass and raised surfaces. but still could be a little slick on the roads. 37 for the afternoon high with some lingering flurries throughout the day and a lot of cloud cover. Just a cold, raw day. Wednesday, much of the same. Maybe some sun early, then mostly cloudy, breezy, and a high of 37 for Wednesday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
All right, you ready to move? Ready to find that other school district or maybe make that investment in your Airbnb or whatever it is that you're looking to do? Don't be scared away by the unstable market. Call Rodney and Jen, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. And I say don't let the market scare you away. Does that mean it's the right time for you to buy or sell? I don't know, but Rodney and Jen will give you the right advice. Even if you don't have a contract with them right now, just call them. Either Rodney or Jen will pick up the phone and they will answer your questions. And they may actually say, you know what, let me research, let me find, I think I know what you're looking for. And then they will get back to you whether or not you've signed a contract with them or not. When it comes to doing such an important job, like guiding you through a real estate process, likely the biggest investment you're ever going to make in you and your family's time, you want to make sure that you have people who aren't just competent, but ethical, but also people that you go, yeah, I want these people fighting for me, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to get you the best dollar for dollar deal in a way that so many others can't. There's a reason they sell 15 times more homes than the average real estate agent. It's not because they have slick marketing. It's because they're very good at what they do. They're trustworthy. And what happens is you work with them. And then what happens is you say, hey, I had Rodney and Jen work with me. It was amazing. You need to call them too. You build a reputation by earning trust, and that's what Rodney and Jen do. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD.
The news and talk.
These missile launches
Fired from North Korea. That matters to St. Louis.
The 300,000 people that have come through this year alone, they've been trespassing.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
What's happening in
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
All right, 8:05, we're going to take a look in depth at one of the cases the U.S. Supreme Court is considering right now. They've already had the opening arguments, and the Supreme Court is considering the case of using race in college admissions. And we're going to talk to Linda Chavez from the Equal Opportunity Foundation, or the Center for Equal Opportunity. So we're going to talk to her at 8:05 and hear about that. All right, it is 7:39 right now. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here, got Ken Williams here. My name is Mike Ferguson. Donald Trump has his big night tonight. He says in his words that he hopes this will be one of the most important dates in American history. So his big announcement, Fox News' Evan Brown has the story.
Former President Donald Trump will be making a promised announcement tonight from his residence at the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach. It is expected by many that the former president will make known and official his intent to seek a second term in the White House. Unlike other U.S. presidents in the past, Mr. Trump has not gone quietly, routinely criticizing Democrats and the currently serving President Joe Biden. The former president has caused a new division among Republicans since the party's expected big wins in last week's midterms failed to materialize. In Broward County, Florida, Evan Brown, Fox News.
All right, 314-912-1019. I think we all know what's going to happen. The only thing, though, that is certain about Donald Trump is that he is unpredictable. But he has been hinting and he has said that he is going to be announcing that he's running for president in 2024. And he's, I would say, strongly hinted, but he's all but said that's exactly what's going to happen. So what do you want to hear from him tonight. I always say, well, we know what's going to happen. He's going to announce his campaign for 2024, but you can never say that for certain until he actually does it, because Donald Trump does what Donald Trump wants to do, and he does it on Donald Trump's timeline.
You know, prior to his recent remarks, I thought it was like remotely possible that he'd do a little rope-a-dope and then endorse somebody else for president.
Yeah,
like just announce that kind of, like, I thought that was a very remote possibility that he'd throw everybody off and it's like, okay, I'm gonna take a step back from politics. I'm gonna bring this guy up or what have you. But his recent remarks, that's done. That's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think his recent remarks, they aggravated me. But I think there was a reason for him doing that. I don't think it was just him throwing some crazy stuff out there. Donald Trump is going to probably announce that he's running, and he needs to talk about what he can do to save this country. He needs to talk about nothing about 2020. He needs to talk about moving forward and actually talk about unity again. I mean, just he has to talk about that kind of thing. If he does all that, I think it's going to help him in the long run because, like you said earlier, Mike, 2024 is a light year away.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think it's wise to be announcing right now while the midterms haven't even been settled yet in all those races. But, not that Donald Trump asks for my opinion on anything. If he's going to run, I think it makes more sense to announce after the holidays. But that's the playbook that almost everybody uses. I'm looking at the Rumble, kind of the chat box right now. Just here's a sample, 4912-1019. The question is, what do you want to hear from him? We've got Rebecca who says, I so hope Trump does not run. He does not have my primary vote. Nope. He is a lame duck and he will lose. Okay. She has a couple different perspectives or a couple different statements on that. Goat Lady says, I love him, but I just don't see how Trump can win a general election. Too many people have chronic TDS. D Coffee says, I kind of hope he announces his endorsement for somebody else. And the kind of what you were saying. But he goes on to say Don Jr. or Ivanka even. I don't see that happening at all.
And I also think America doesn't like dynasties anymore.
Yes.
I think after the Bushes and the Clintons, and prior to that there was somebody else, but I think after that,
Cheney's, Kennedy's. You
can kind of go through the list.
Cuomo's. I mean, there have been dynasties all over the place.
But I'm thinking the Bushes and the Clintons were the ones I think that tipped the American public away from the name recognition being a plus.
Yeah,
I think MAGA and America First is bigger than Donald Trump. I don't think he owns it. He started it for darn sure, but I think that is flowing through the different candidates that we have around. There are other comments on here that are positive for Donald Trump as well.
There are positive comments about Donald Trump of people who hope that he does something different. I mean, so it's one of those where people are saying, I like him, and so we're seeing some of that.
Yeah, I understand the TDS aspect of it and the people being worn out from all of the divisiveness and polarity that he causes. It's not him causing it, though. You have to understand it's the left causing this. It's going to be any candidate that runs. Yes, Donald Trump is a polarizing figure, but that's because the left has made him, it's like taking two different magnets and you put it together. It takes both magnets. It's not just one of them causing the polarity. And it's the left that's contributing to that. And they're going to contribute to that. That polarity is going to extend to DeSantis and anybody else that runs in this contest coming up in 2024. And the left is going to make sure that it happens.
Yeah, but you don't think Donald Trump embraces it and kind of
that's what I like about him. He does embrace it. He says, screw you.
Yeah.
Screw you, I'm running. So, don't like it? Oh, well, I'm living in your head then.
Right. So what I'm saying is Donald Trump deals with all of that in a way that's different than everybody else would deal with it. I mean, there are people who push back. There's plenty of politicians from, you can name Ted Cruz and Tim Scott and Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Kristi Noem, and they all push back. Carrie Lake, they all push back, but they don't quite do it in the Donald Trump way.
No, they don't.
Yeah, so I think there is a different dynamic when he is involved.
And I think DeSantis and Carrie Lake and all of them learned from him.
Oh, I think that's fair.
Yeah, that is.
I think that's fair. Yeah, yep. Absolutely. All right, 314-912-1019, just ahead here. Okay, obviously Thanksgiving. It's okay. It's close enough to Thanksgiving. We talk about Thanksgiving. You're not allowed to talk about Christmas yet.
No.
I'm that guy. But somebody who had a little bit of fun online. They said, okay, which would you rather? Talking about your Thanksgiving meals. Going around the room, guys, which would you rather?
Okay.
When it comes to food, one of my favorite topics right here. 1019-941 News Talk STL. Keep that conversation going on the Rumble chat box in particular. Also, it's up on Facebook.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
I-70 westbound will continue to be shut down for several more hours at Highway 61. We've got a very serious crash west of there. You'll be diverted northbound. You'll have to exit at Route A and then double back southbound. 55 north, a lot of slow traffic. Weber up to Gasconade, add 12 minutes to your commute. 64, 55 westbound, head for the Papa Street Bridge, add 9 minutes. 64 westbound between Hampton and Big Bend, add 3. And we've got a little slow traffic, 270 northbound. It's pockets, not a complete jam, but slow spots. 55 up through Manchester, add 10 to 11 minutes. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Tuesday, and Tim is back. We'll speak with David Stoth from the Show Me Institute at 425, and we'll talk about the exciting House and Senate leadership races.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Hey, Columbo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, including braces. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile Braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile, and incentives and insurance can lower the price even more, plus New Creation offers in-office financing. Learn more at newcreationdentalcare.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
I am a election denier because I don't think that 2020 was a free and fair election. And I get crap for that. But Stacey Abrams, the question was worded just like that. Was 2018 a free and fair election? She said no. Right. Why does she get to say it, but we don't get to say it?
Because you're not a Democrat.
I don't want to be one of those.
No, I don't either, Vic.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, when it comes to college university admissions, and there's actually a much bigger picture to this that the Supreme Court is looking at, is how much should race be allowed to be considered as a factor. I mean, pretty much every education institution and almost every business now says part of our mission is to be diverse.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they not consider diverse demographics as part of the qualifications? Well, that's before the U.S. Supreme Court. So 8:05, Linda Chavez from the Center for Equal Opportunity is going to discuss that with us here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. All right. I have never, just in case my mom or my daughter or my wife are watching, I've never played Would You Rather with anybody.
No.
With the guys.
Of course
Never,
not. No.
ever have done that.
No.
But I know what the game is. Somebody put up a basically Thanksgiving version of Would You Rather based on food.
Okay. I'm in.
So here's what we're going to do. And for those of you who are watching on whether it's Facebook or Rumble, feel free to post your answers in there as well. And if you get them in quick enough, I can include those. So we're just going to go around the room. So basically, what we've got here are two staples of Thanksgiving meal, but you have to get rid of one of them. Which do you keep? So would you rather?
Right.
In this case, would you rather eat?
Oh, that's going to be tough.
I know exactly. All right, one of them's got to go. Which are you keeping? Stuffing or mashed potatoes?
I'm keeping stuffing.
I'm keeping the potatoes.
Really?
Yeah. I like stuffing. I'm keeping the potatoes, but I'm actually in the majority here. 62% say that they would drop stuffing. Only 38% would give up mashed potatoes.
That's interesting to me because to me, mashed potatoes are largely just gravy transports.
Yes.
It's like, okay, that's what potato is, right? It's like even in French fries, they're ketchup transports, and and as potato chips, they're other flavor plates. That's all it is. So yeah, that's interesting to me.
All right, so we don't agree on that one. All right, number 2 here: apple pie or pecan pie.
Oh wow.
I'm keeping my apple pie.
I'm keeping my pecan pie.
I'm keeping apple pie.
Okay.
See, and this is one of those where I still miss my dad every day, but my dad's been gone for about 5 years. I think he would be very disappointed in me that I said I would keep apple pie over pecan pie because he loved pecan pie to the point where later in life he's like, I don't care if I have diabetes, give me that pecan pie.
Okay, well there you go.
My whole deal was I couldn't eat pecan pie for about 5 years.
Why is that?
Just a condition. I thought I couldn't eat nuts.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And so then when I realized when I was told I could.
Oh, you went all in.
No, I went all in. So pecan.
70% of people would keep apple pie.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, as American as.
Apple pie.
There it is.
Okay. I think this might be the one we all agree on. Brussels sprouts or glazed carrots?
I'm keeping the glazed carrots.
Brussels sprouts.
You're keeping the Brussels
Really?
sprouts over the glazed
I
carrots?
love Brussels sprouts.
Really?
Oh my God, I love
Okay.
them. Especially if they're done right.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the trick.
Yeah, I'm keeping I'm keeping the glazed carrots, and actually I do like Brussels sprouts, but that doesn't seem like a Thanksgiving thing for me as much.
For me, it's just a matter of
I guess
the,
if
the sugar from the glaze.
Yeah,
I'm just going to fully
what?
admit it.
I have to rescind my well because it's a Thanksgiving,
Right.
Yeah, it's
and
Thanksgiving
Brussels
meal.
sprouts just isn't really Thanksgiving.
By the way, in
There
the
you go.
last one, Goat Lady's also she's with you on pecan pie.
Oh
yeah,
Totally with you.
Janet would be on pecan pie as well.
And she's actually she would actually keep the Brussels sprouts too.
Well, I love them, but for Thanksgiving dinner, I'm more in line with the glazed carrots.
Yeah, okay.
As a more traditional food for the occasion kind of thing.
Correct.
Oh, I see.
Okay, now how about this one? You can keep one. Gravy or cranberry sauce?
Gravy.
A gravy.
Yeah, because it's all too dry without it. You gotta put that gravy over that turkey. You got to put it over those mashed potatoes, and you have to put it over the stuffing.
Well, just in general, I mean, I'm okay with the cranberry sauce. It was never really a big thing for me. I just prefer. I think gravy's more flavorful. I like the savory more than the sweet. Maybe I should say it that way. In mixed in with the stuffing and the turkey and all that stuff. But my turkey is juicy, so it doesn't need the gravy.
There you go. There you
okay.
go. I would also keep the gravy, and 72% of America agrees with us.
Okay.
on that
All
one.
right.
So
Yeah, there you go.
That's as close to united as we're probably ever going to be on anything.
Janet would go for the cranberry.
Oh, would she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she loves it.
How about cornbread versus potato rolls?
Well, I can't
you just had to
can't
hit
eat
me in
corn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
potato rolls for me.
I know.
That
tough.
hurts me.
You got to
That
pick
hurt.
one. You got to pick one.
Oh my gosh, the cornbread potato rolls. Well, you know what? I don't get cornbread very often, so I would keep the cornbread.
I would keep the cornbread too.
Yeah,
cornbread for me is like growing up, man. My mom used to make it in a frying pan.
Yeah,
the big cast iron pan, and then she'd cut that thing out of there and just hand me a big pat of butter.
Oh,
that was,
man.
and she'd just say, "Get outside." And that's what. Yeah.
We're in the minority though, Gabe.
Are we?
Yeah, because 60% would give up cornbread and keep the potato rolls. And I respect the potato rolls, but you know what I love about cornbread is you put the butter on there, but you can also put some honey on it.
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
That's what you do.
Yes, there's just a bit of sweetness to it.
Goat lady would keep the rolls too. She'd keep the potato rolls. I get it.
Well, but goat lady, I would love. I would love whatever you're serving. Then
I was gonna say we're going to goat lady's house.
Yeah, except she doesn't have the gravy that's for the rolls to sop up.
No. Oh yeah. Was she with the
went
gravy?
With the cranberry sauce.
Yeah, she went with gravy though.
Yeah, she went gravy.
Yeah, she went
did she?
gravy.
Okay,
Yeah,
I missed it. I'm sorry.
She's consistent.
All right.
Okay, how about this? Baked sweet potatoes or pumpkin pie?
Oh, I have to go pumpkin, man.
Sweet potatoes. I prefer the sweet potato over
yours
the
goes
pumpkin.
back to tradition in your family.
Oh, yes. My mom
this
makes
one's really, really hard for me.
Yeah.
Can I get whipped cream on my pumpkin pie?
Yes.
Whipped cream on either. Why not?
You can. Yeah, but I'm just saying that puts it over for me.
My daughter, I'm sure, is asleep because she works a late shift, but she would get a slice of pumpkin pie, and I think she would still do this even though she's 24 now. And she would have this pyramid of whipped cream with somewhere underneath there. We have to take her word for it that there's a piece of pumpkin pie. You ask me this 10 times, I may give you 5 answers of each time, but as of right now, I would keep the sweet potatoes.
Oh, okay.
With the
All right.
marshmallows baked on the top and everything.
Oh, yeah. The full-on casserole. The sweet
But I
potato
love
casserole.
pumpkin pie, too.
Yep.
Of course, I'm keeping the apple pie from earlier, too. So
Yeah, that's true. So,
Oh, man. All right. The last one I've got here. Sweet potato casserole versus green bean casserole.
Oh, okay.
man.
So that's a different one. Okay. I'm definitely keeping the sweet potato casserole. Because vegetables are for rabbits. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's healthy.
I'm kidding.
I'd have to say with the mushroom sauce and all that. Yeah, green bean casserole.
I'm keeping green bean casserole. That's a guilty pleasure of mine during Thanksgiving.
There's nothing
crunchies
guilty
on
about
top, the onions on top.
Yeah, can't go wrong with it. All right, race when it comes to college admissions, which, by the way, this is going to have a bigger picture after that. Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert every Saturday morning at 9 right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Arizona's next governor will be a Democrat. Katie Hobbs managing a win over her Trump-endorsed Republican challenger.
Hobbs, who was Arizona's Secretary of State, rose to prominence as a staunch defender of the legitimacy of the last election and tried to characterize her Republican rival, Carrie Lake, as an agent of chaos. She will succeed Republican Governor Doug Ducey, who was prohibited by term limit laws from running again. She's the first Democrat to be elected governor in Arizona since Janet Napolitano in 2006. Vote counting had gone on for days since the Tuesday election, as officials continued to tally massive amounts of late-arriving ballots. The problem affected about 7% of ballots cast in person on Election Day, and about 1% of the total cast in Maricopa County. Bernie Bennett reporting.
The October Producer Price Index is just in. It shows that wholesale inflation cooled a bit more than analysts were expecting last month. Later today, former President Trump expected to announce that he is making another presidential run. He has scheduled the announcement for 9 tonight, Eastern Time. President Biden trying to convince the world's largest economies to further isolate Russia over its war in Ukraine.
In meetings at the Group of 20 summit in Indonesia, the president is pressing nations to stand up to Russia and defend Ukraine's sovereignty in both symbolic and substantive ways. The effort comes as global inflation and slowing economies have put new pressures on countries that impose penalties on Russia for the 9-month war that has sent food and energy prices soaring. A senior U.S. administration official says that the summit's final communique will make clear that most of the nations condemn Russia's invasion in Ukraine and the toll it has taken on global food and energy supplies. I'm Norman Hall.
Encouraged by the latest inflation report, stock futures higher this morning. The Dow futures up 373 points. NASDAQ futures better by 318 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
If you feel like you're stuck with a healthcare plan that isn't affordable or you simply just don't like how it works, well, right now, during open enrollment is a perfect time to switch to Medi-Share. The typical family saves $500 a month when they join Medi-Share, and what's more, they like it. Medi-Share has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to the industry. That's double. And Medi-Share is the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. It's been around for 30 years. It's shared more than $4 billion in healthcare bills. And here's why now is the perfect time to make the switch. If you join Medi-Share Complete by January 1st, they will waive your new member fees and you'll save an additional 10% off your first year. That's right. No fee to join, 10% off every month for all of next year. But again, it's a limited time offer. So yeah, you're not stuck. You've got a great option. Call now, 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
The roads are mainly just wet, but obviously there are some slick spots. 70 westbound is shut down and all traffic diverted onto Highway 61 at this time. That'll be the case for the rest of the morning. We've had a terrible accident there. Go north to Route A and then double back south on 61, but allow plenty of extra time. 55 north, add 10 minutes to your drive. Weber up to Gasconade. 270 north, add 13 minutes. 55 up to Manchester. There's a crash on the right shoulder at Gravois. 64 west, add 5 minutes. Hampton to Big Bend. We're not too bad on 270 westbound. Slowed down New Halls Ferry to West Florissant. Poplar Street Bridge traffic is pretty busy back to about 64, but that's just in pockets. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Provember is back at Lowe's and so are the savings. Power the possibilities with savings on the DeWalt tools you trust, like the DeWalt 16-piece reciprocating saw blade set was $29.98, now $19.98. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. Offer ends 12/28 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Snow coming in overnight tonight. Be cautious on the morning drive, especially in untreated roads or elevated surfaces because it's borderline freezing. The low of just 32, but 1 inch to 2 inches of snow. You'll see most of that on grass and raised surfaces, but still could be a little slick on the roads. 37 for the afternoon high with some lingering flurries throughout the day and a lot of cloud cover. Just a cold, raw day. Wednesday, much of the same. Maybe some sun early, then mostly cloudy, breezy, and a high of 37 for Wednesday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin Bob.
The past session of the United States Supreme Court, many would argue, I think fairly, one of the most consequential in, frankly, our country's history. Everyone is important, but last year, particularly when it comes to religious freedom, particularly when it comes to Second Amendment, there were a lot of decisions that were absolutely culture affecting and politics affecting and law affecting, and not to mention the question over abortion. Well, this coming session, it remains to be seen whether it is that impactful or not, but one of the biggest questions that they are going to be looking at has to do with, well, it has to do with race and with affirmative action and with education. And you mix all of those things and you've got a very contentious set of discussions. I'm Mike Ferguson. I am joined now by Linda Chavez. She is the chair of the Center for Equal Opportunity. Linda, thank you so much for being on the program. We're talking about a case with 2 universities, and I'm going to note one is private, one is public, and the use of race in their admissions policies. What is being challenged specifically so we understand what it is that's being put before the justices?
Well, what is being challenged is that both universities use in their admissions process a way to give preference to Black and Latino students who are admitted to the school, which disadvantages not just whites, but also another minority group, a group that has faced significant discrimination in the United States, and that's namely Asian American students. One is private, Harvard University. Private universities have a slightly, more leeway, I think, than public universities do, because public universities are controlled by the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which basically says that there is equal protection of the law without regard to race or color. But Harvard University gets federal money, and Title VI of the Civil Rights Act also forbids discrimination on the basis of race or color to any recipient of federal money, and Harvard certainly receives a lot of federal money.
Hasn't the Supreme Court upheld, at least in the past, the argument that's saying there are some people who are disadvantaged in society, and some of these programs are constitutional or at least pass the muster because they're trying to right other wrongs?
That's a very interesting argument, Mike, because that is indeed the way affirmative action programs began. They began back in the late 1960s, early 1970s as programs that attempted to give a leg up to particularly students who had been disadvantaged because of a history of decades of racial discrimination. But in 1978, the Supreme Court took up a case involving a medical student, an applicant, at the University of California at Davis. And rather than upholding the university's preference program there on the basis that it was making up for past discrimination and past disadvantage, the justice who really was the key justice, Justice Potter Stewart, cast his vote saying that the university could use race based on the concept that race provides diversity to the school. And so he found that there was a compelling state interest in using race as a marker of diversity. And that's one of the things that's at issue here, because that's a very different rationale. And those of us who have been fighting these programs over the years, I've been involved in this for more than 40 years, involved in fighting these racial preferences. We would argue that the fact you know the color of someone's skin tells you very little about that person. And simply giving a preference because you happen to be a member of a particular minority group, and by the way, not any minority group. As I say, Asian Americans are actually discriminated against, certainly at Harvard, and I think there's evidence they are at University of North Carolina as well. That idea that we're going to give preference based on skin color goes against everything that the civil rights movement was about, which was to eliminate race as a factor in making these important decisions.
Is there a difference between outcomes and opportunities when it comes to the constitutionality of these particular types of policies?
Absolutely. You know, the word equity is thrown around a lot these days. Many social progressives want equity. Equity is all about equal outcomes. It's about making sure that you have a certain percentage of this group and another percentage of that group, and that if, Blacks are 14% of the population, they should be 14% of the doctors and lawyers and engineers and admittees to the University of North Carolina or to Harvard University. That, unfortunately, requires that you do things that deny opportunity and deny opportunity on the basis of skin color. And my organization is called the Center for Equal Opportunity, because in my view, that is what is guaranteed by the Constitution. It is what is guaranteed by our civil rights laws, and it ought to be the goal of our society to provide opportunity, not necessarily to guarantee results.
We are visiting with Linda Chavez from the aforementioned Center for Equal Opportunity, where she is the chair. Okay, so we've had the opening arguments happened earlier this week. What do you make of the defense of the programs from the universities, even, some government programs? What do you make of their argument in favor of keeping some racial factors in the admissions?
Well, I think they are trying to maintain that, in fact, the 14th Amendment is not colorblind. Certainly, the newest justice, Justice Ketanji Brown, has argued that when the framers of the 14th Amendment passed it, they were very much focused on color. I would dispute that. I've read the entire debate over the passage of the 14th Amendment, and while it's true that it was passed in the wake of the Civil War and the freeing of enslaved people, there were on the minds of the framers others as well as Blacks. That was a time, this is the middle of the 19th century, when we had a huge inflow of immigrants, for example. And one of the very important parts of the 14th Amendment guarantees the right of citizenship to anyone born in the United States. So I think they try to hang their hat on race consciousness as something that's permissible. I don't think it is. But they don't make very good arguments about diversity. And all of this hangs on that original ruling by Justice Stewart, the deciding vote in the Bakke case, that points to diversity as a benefit to the institutions. And I think it's important to remember that he wasn't talking about helping individuals. He was talking about helping the institution itself. And when you're helping the institution at the expense of individuals, I think that's problematic in and of itself.
We've just got a couple of minutes left. Linda, are there any factors other than what people would think are meritorious indicators, test scores, GPAs, things like that? Is there a place for any other factor to be considered? If it's not racial makeup in particular, is there anything else that could legitimately be used when considering who to let into a limited number of seats into any sort of admission class?
Absolutely. You could use, for example, giving some benefit to people who are the first in their family to go to college. You could do it on the basis of social and economic disadvantage, so long as it was open to poor white and Asian students, as well as poor Black and Latino students. You could do it, as Texas does, by granting automatic admission to students in a state system who graduate in the top 10% of their respective high schools. So there are lots of ways to try to expand opportunity to make sure that disadvantaged students get the chance to be able to attend a good university and get the benefits of that education without using race.
Where do we learn more about the Center for Equal Opportunity and follow what you and your team are doing?
Well, we've got lots of good information on our website. That is at www.ceousa.org. That's ceousa.org. And you can read all about the studies we've done about the Harvard case right there, as well as our press release on the arguments.
All right. Are you all on social media as well?
I don't do Twitter as much as a lot of people. Devin Westhill, who is the president of CEO, does do Twitter, so you can follow Devin Westhill on Twitter. I tend to stay off it. I'm of an age when discretion is the better part of valor. The less said in 240 characters, the better.
I don't blame you, Linda. Thank you so much for the perspective.
Bye-bye.
And of course, we talked to Devin last week on the program right before those Supreme Court arguments were made, and now we've got the assessment after they were made from Linda. What do you think? We've got time to talk about it. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
I-70 westbound has been shut down all morning long. That is still the case. All traffic must exit at Highway 61. You'll have to go north, get off at Route A, and then double back to pick up 70 westbound. This is all due to a very bad crash with an accident investigation. We're still slow 270 northbound, more or less from 55 to Manchester. The real heavy run is 55 to Gravois, where there's a crash on the shoulder. 55 north still backing up, approaching the River de Pere into Gasconade. 64 west, Hampton to Big Bend is pretty slow. Some pockets of heavy traffic really on all the area interstates, but the roadways are mainly just wet. This report sponsored by Mucinex DM. Say goodbye to retaking medicine every few hours. By Mucinex DM, get cough and chest congestion relief for 3 times longer than your typical 4-hour cough and chest congestion medicines. That's 3 times more relief for chest congestion and cough. Nothing lasts longer. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Without Prilosec, I wouldn't be able to enjoy all this yummy holiday food. Speaking of whoever made that apple pie, delicious. I just take 1 pill each morning and 0 heartburn all day. So cheers to Prilosec OTC. Ooh, are those jalapeno poppers?
Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid that can cause heartburn, so you can enjoy the holidays. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Fox News commentary.
More troubles ahead for the happiest place on earth? Go woke, go broke, Disney. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Starting to realize your small business is a little overwhelmed by the holiday rush? It's still not too late to get all of your shipping and mailing under control with Stamps.com. Sign up right now, and you'll be printing your own postage in just minutes with discounted USPS and UPS shipping rates. Just go to Stamps.com, click the mic at the top of the page, and use code BUSINESS for a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, code BUSINESS.
You'd think the holidays would be a plentiful time of year for Disney, but not so much. The company has announced tough and uncomfortable decisions coming down the pike, like a hiring freeze and layoffs. Disney CEO says these staff reductions are necessary to cut costs after a disappointing quarter. There are a variety of reasons for this. The whole dang country is struggling through Bidenflation and an employee shortage created by an excess in worker laziness. But this isn't just Biden's economy at play. Disney park tickets have skyrocketed 3,871% in 50 years. Middle-class families just can't afford it. And furthermore, going woke and unsuccessfully taking on the governor of the state you're based in probably doesn't help matters. Disney, like the rest of these woke companies, needs to get back in touch with its customers and have a come-to-Jesus moment. It's a shame one of the most iconic brands in history is skipping down this path. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
U.S. Senator Josh Hawley says the GOP as we know it, dead. Doorknob dead.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not doorknob. I'm putting words in his mouth now. I'll let you hear from him right around 8:35. Want to get your thoughts on that. Is the GOP as we know it dead after these latest midterm elections? And if so, what's the best way to revive it? It is almost 8:23. That conversation will happen at 8:35. Ken Williams is here. I'm here as well, of course. There is another round of media calling a race with almost all the votes now counted. In Arizona, the governor's race has now been called in favor of Democrat Katie Hobbs. Fox News' Brooke Singman has more. She was on Fox and Friends First a little bit earlier today.
Fox News is calling the Arizona gubernatorial race for Democrat Katie Hobbs nearly a full week after Election Day. Now, Hobbs, Arizona's Secretary of State, is poised to beat Trump-backed GOP candidate Kari Lake after an intense campaign cycle. The governor-elect celebrating the victory on Twitter, writing, quote, "Democracy is worth the wait. Thank you, Arizona. I am so honored and so proud to be your next governor." Lake also sharing her reaction on social media, writing, quote, "Arizonans know BS when they see it."
Now, here's the law in Arizona. I looked it up. If the vote difference is less than 0.5%, then it looks like an automatic recount can happen. Now, if it's closer than that, I think you can ask for a recount. Right now, you're at 19,000 and change vote difference between Katie Hobbs and Kari Lake, with almost all the votes counted at this point. So that's about as close as it gets.
Yeah, that's to me, it's so close that they need to do a recount for sure.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably a lot of people agree with you. Yeah, especially, if you're in less than 1%, you're looking at, even if you take away the percentages, 19,000 something, 19,600 votes, something along those lines is the difference between Hobbs and Lake right now out of, millions. So that is such a tiny, tiny number that I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of recount in that.
And you have too many people in Arizona and outside of Arizona, to be quite frank, that are questioning the election in itself. And that is just, to put that to bed, just to do a recount.
That may happen. We'll find out. We'll probably find out within the next, I would say probably 48 hours would be my guess. 48 to 96 hours probably is when we're going to hear that. Speaking of elections, probably Donald Trump is having his announcement tonight, the one he's been teasing for months, and that is going to happen at 8 o'clock our time. I'm sure that most of the media outlets are going to cover it. Newsmax in particular has said they are going to cover it. Probably Real America's Voice. I wouldn't be surprised if Fox News covers it. Some of the mainstream stuff will stream it as well. I'm sure you can find it on True Social. I'm sure they have streaming, right, Ken?
Who?
True Social, they've got streaming capabilities, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I haven't used it or anything.
So any of those, and you'll be able to find. He's probably announcing his next run for president in 2024. I just say that because Donald Trump, is obviously does his own thing. So it looks like that's what he is going to announce. But either way, whatever he announces, we'll be talking about that on the program tomorrow. Senator-elect Eric Schmidt is. He said early on that he would not support Mitch McConnell to remain the GOP leader in the U.S. Senate. Now Josh Hawley saying, add my name to that list. And by the way, Ted Cruz has also said he is not going to support Mitch McConnell to remain leader as well. But here's what Josh Hawley had to say.
I'm not going to vote for Senator McConnell, and I've been very clear about that. And I feel very strongly about that, and I said that before this election. So will somebody challenge him? I don't know. I don't give advice to my colleagues. So we'll see what others do. I don't have a prediction for you.
I haven't heard of anybody who is going to challenge him. So my guess is Mitch McConnell is going to be the leader still, just with a lot of hard feelings with a lot of his colleagues.
I heard something about Steve Scalise.
He's in the House.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's right. Okay. I haven't heard anybody else. I mean, I've heard a lot of opposition, though. I mean, as far as people not wanting McConnell.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have an answer, though. If they don't have an answer, he's there.
Precisely. Well, but that's the thing is who's going to step up because it's risky to step up. Like for instance, in the Missouri Senate, let's go on a much smaller scale. Caleb Rowden was reelected the leader of the Missouri Senate, unfortunately. And I say this as somebody, I think Caleb would consider me a friend. I've known him for years. I was one of the people he came to when he first thought about running for office years and years ago. I've known Caleb a long time, but nobody challenged him. Andrew Koenig was nominated. He withdrew. Therefore, no one challenged him. So we're probably going to get the same old out of the Missouri Senate. In this case here, you're taking a risk by challenging the leader because if you lose, you can be punished. And the leader has a lot of political favors that they can call in at any given time. So we don't know what's going to happen. Now, you did mention Steve Scalise in the House. There is at least one challenger to Kevin McCarthy, though, who has announced.
That's where I think I heard it.
Yeah, but it whether Steve Scalise does or not, I don't know. But Congressman Andy Biggs had this to say on Newsmax.
We have a new paradigm here, and I think the country wants a different direction from the House of Representatives. And it's a new world, and yes, I'm going to be nominated tomorrow to the position of Speaker of the House. We'll see if we can get the job done. The votes, it's going to be tough. I mean, Kevin has raised a lot of money and done a lot of things, but this is not just about Kevin. I think it's about institutional direction and trajectory, and that's where we're going to see if we have enough people who agree that we need to change the trajectory of this place and open it up so where people can actually represent their constituency in a more open and transparent manner.
So let's just make this clear. It sounds like you just announced.
Yeah, I guess I did.
That's Congressman Andy Biggs, Republican out of Arizona.
Now, Steve Scalise, the only problem I have with him is he has a relationship with Liz Cheney.
Yeah, but you have a relationship. You can't.
But I mean, he supported her to help get her fundraising and stuff like that.
In this election cycle?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't look past this election cycle on those types of things. I mean, you have to have relationships in any body politic. You just have to. So people do those. Steve Scalise is pretty solid conservative.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen any indication he's going to run for speaker, but he's somebody you definitely want high up in leadership, I think.
If we're being serious and intellectually honest about all this cleaning of the swamp, draining of the swamp, changing everything, we need to get rid of that leadership. We just do because they're a part of the establishment. They are. And I don't think, to some degree, even when the Republicans lose whatever they are running for, they kind of don't care. I don't want to say they don't care, but when they when they lose, they just say, well, let's move on now to the next thing. No big deal.
Well, Andy Biggs there challenging Kevin McCarthy for Speaker.
Yeah.
We'll see how far it gets. I'll be a little surprised if he gets to the finish line on that, but we will find out. Ameren is warning about scams. A lot of those are coming by way of phone call, and even if your caller ID says Ameren, it might be spoofed. So you may want to, as a preventative measure, look up Ameren's customer service number and have that on hand. So if you get a call saying, hey, we're from Ameren, we're about to shut off your power, you need to pay up right now, say, you know what, I'm going to call you right back. Hang up, call that customer service number. You can also go to ameren.com/stop scams to make sure you've got all the right information, because some of these con artists are pretty darn convincing.
And if they're bold enough to do what you said earlier and go to the front door, I'm going to say, yeah, hold on a second. I got something for you. And then I would immediately call 911 and let them get there.
And that's actually what Ameren says you should do.
Yeah.
So he says if they don't have an actual Ameren badge that they can show you, and
even then I'd be
you can do that.
It.
They're fine with that too. And so, yeah, you can absolutely call the police. And that's what Ameren says. It said, if you have any indication you think these might not be legitimate Ameren workers. Now, I don't think Ameren goes door to door and collects past due bills. That's
Money.
That's not what the linemen do. That's not what they do. So I would be suspicious of that. A little bit of good news. The Blues now have won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Yes, after losing a lot in a row. So now they're 6-8 on the year. That's a pretty respectable start. We're back to respectability. They beat the Avalanche in Denver last night. Final score was 3-2. Is the GOP as we know it dead? And if so, what's the way it should revive and reinvent itself? That conversation comes your way at right around 8:35 and 16 seconds here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. What happens next?
Historic landslide victory. Things did not quite turn out the way we had hoped.
Happens right here.
Whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent.
People have spoken.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The Hazelwood School Board will hear results today from a third round of testing at shuttered Jana Elementary in Florissant following 2 conflicting reports on the presence of radioactive contamination. On Thursday, the Army Corps will host a town hall meeting to share results from its testing. The meeting will be held at Florissant Municipal Court on Washington. Thousands of Missouri prison guards will be receiving settlement checks this week as part of a decade-long lawsuit involving overtime pay. Officers successfully argued that the DOC failed to pay them for their work done once they arrived at their prison for the beginning of their shifts. Starting today, Missouri libraries and members of the public can formally weigh in on an attempt by Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft to block public funding for libraries if they offer books that might appeal to the sexual interests of minors. Depending on the comments received over the next 30 days, the rule could be reworked, or it could go before a bipartisan panel of state lawmakers who could vote to send the matter to the full House and Senate. St. Louis City SC has announced several additional food and beverage partners for City Park ahead of the new stadium's debut exhibition match on Wednesday. Some of the new partners include Crown Candy, Anthonino's, Didi Mao, Nudo House, G&W Sausage, and Caldi's. And in sports, the Blues beat the Avalanche 3-2 in Colorado last night. Next up, the Blues head to Chicago tomorrow night to face the Blackhawks. Puck drop is at 6:30 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to newstalkstl.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
The biggest incident we're dealing with this morning is 70 westbound. All lanes are closed at 4061 and traffic diverted northbound onto 61. That's due to a very bad crash from earlier this morning. Now an accident investigation. Traffic jam back to about Route A. Give yourself plenty of extra time. 55 north, still about a 15-minute delay headed into the work zone in South County or South City. 270 north is still pretty busy at Gravois. We had a fender bender on the shoulder. Should just about be wrapped up. 64 east has pockets approaching McKnight into Big Bend, but it's doing a little bit better. Otherwise, we're starting to thin out. This report sponsored by Lowe's. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
It's Provember at Lowe's, and you can save up to $750 on select major appliances from Hisense and get free delivery on items $396 or more in-store or online. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details. Offer ends 11/30.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. The snow moves out, but it'll continue to drip and melt and make things wet as we stay above freezing the rest of the day, but cold. A high of 39 degrees. May see a few flurries in the evening, otherwise a low down to 27. Another cold day, partly to mostly cloudy for tomorrow, and a high right around 37 degrees. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
When is a financial help show not just a financial help show? When it's Pocket Watching with JT, the caller-driven financial talk show focused on helping you get your money right. Jason Thornton is a certified financial planner licensed in both tax and investments. You get JT's real reaction to all your money and business questions. Plus, you get JT's take on all the latest financial news. This is not just another financial show. Pocket Watching with JT now every Friday night at 8 p.m. on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
As a noun, hiatus is an interruption in time, a pause, or a break. As a tequila, hiatus is naturally clean yet complex, ideal for sipping neat, but it also shines in a cocktail. Some companies cut corners, but we prefer to take our time as our blue agave plants take up to 8 years to fully ripen. We got your taste at Hiatus Tequila. Go on a hiatus from the everyday. You deserve it.
Get 10% off your first order using coupon code HOLLY10 on shophiatustequila.com.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
855-672-1566. 855-672-1566. That's 855-672-1566.
Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the Newstalk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the Newstalk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Is the Republican Party dead, or is it just a bad election cycle for them? I mean, ebbs and flows happen in politics. And everybody expected an ebb and we got a flow because everybody expected Republicans to run right over the top of Democrats. And that just didn't happen. By no stretch of the imagination outside the state of Florida, that just did not happen. And Josh Hawley was asked about that at the Capitol. And here's what he had to say. And the way that he framed it actually surprised a lot of people.
I think that this election was the funeral for the Republican Party as we know it. The Republican Party, as we have known it, is dead. And voters have made that clear. And in particular, the folks who did not vote for Republicans in this last election were independent voters, working class independent voters, folks who voted for President Obama once upon a time, folks who then voted for President Trump but stayed home this time. We are not a majority party unless we can appeal to those voters.
And independents did break for Democrats in this election, particularly younger voters, younger independents. So as far as the breakdown of the numbers, generally speaking, Senator Hawley is right. What's your take on what he just said, Ken?
I think that Joe Biden utilized the whole payback thing, school funding, payback for the loan program thing to get votes, and it worked to a degree for him. I think a lot of people are, realizing now that they put a vote in for Biden's group, the Democrats, in order to get that break and it's not going to happen now. And I think they're a little aggravated by that. But as far as Josh Hawley goes, I think that it's in a transition. We used the analogy earlier of a boxer being the Republicans. Currently, the establishment of Republicans wanting to fight very gentlemanly, and then you've got the Democrats who are fighting in MMA fashion, and that's a completely different way to fight. You just use every appendage you have and every type of weight that you can to push against the opponent, and the Republicans aren't ready for that.
And when you look at the tactics as far as get out the vote and all that kind of stuff, Democrats are just better at it than Republicans.
They are.
They're just, and they have been for years. Republicans are getting better, but Democrats are just more skilled at that part of doing politics.
I'll push back on that a little bit, Mike, by saying that I wouldn't say it's skilled, but they lie better. I think when the Democrats put out a message, they don't care if it's the truth. They don't. That's
We're talking about the messaging. We're talking about actually getting people to the polls or getting their votes mailed in.
I'm saying that their message is getting people to the polls by them saying anything under the sun to get them there. And I don't think the Republicans are ready to do that.
So that brings up the question. When it comes to if Senator Hawley is right and the GOP, as we know it, is dead, this was the funeral, as he put it. So the GOP then, in his mind, would have to reinvent itself, would have to revive itself. So what is it going to be? Because it's really easy for the Democrats to be for stuff when you don't have to rely on, principles.
Right.
And,
you can lie.
Vote for us and you're going to get $20,000 knocked off your college debt. A matter of fact, vote for us and we're going to try to just cancel the college debt. Vote for us and we're going to make sure that big mean old bad boss is going to pay you more money. Vote for us and we're going to give you all this free stuff. Whereas the Republicans and the conservatives left in the Republican Party, however many that is, because there are big government Republicans, but the small government Republicans, for years and years and years, the argument has been, vote for us and we're going to keep government out of your way. So they're against all the right things to be against.
They just have to get creative in their message. It's not a lost cause. You don't have to jump over to the left and say, okay, our new message is we're going to give you stuff too. That's not going to work.
That's the question, though.
The principles just aren't there. Well, but they do need to get creative in their message and promote, and it can be done. It just takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of getting together. That's one of the biggest problems in my mind is you've got the establishment caucus. You've got these different caucuses. I guess that's a word.
That's a word, yeah.
Within the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is built on individualism. So you've got a bunch of individuals. You've got to pull it together and get a solid, succinct message.
314-912-1019. The left circles the wagons come election time far better than the right does.
They do.
But that's one of the things is with the right, having somebody being the conscience of a movement tends to be a divisive thing. You've got a populist movement within the Republican Party. You've got the old-fashioned conservative movement. You've got a small L libertarian movement in there. So what elements of those does the Republican Party need to have if they are indeed going to reinvent themselves? Because what we've seen, especially with younger voters, is you want me to vote for you? What are you going to give me? And the answer from the right has been, we're going to give you freedom. We're going to protect your freedom. Well, that's what I want to hear, but I'm 50 years old. These Gen Z voters just want free stuff in so many cases.
And that's not going to happen from the Republicans.
Well,
but they've got to deliver something. They've got to get them excited for something.
Right. And vote for me, I'm going to not do something for you isn't an easy message, even if it's the right one.
Like I said, it's going to take some time to get together. We got Mike on the line.
Hey, Mike, you're on NewstalkSTL.
Hey, Mike. Ken may not have realized it, but a moment ago he did say something quite profound in that we are individualists, and ideally we just like to be left alone 100% of the time. So it is a more difficult base to turn out because ideally we'd like to be left alone completely anyway. Whereas on the Democrat side, this is a way of life. This is how they get their sustenance, meaning that they'll turn out, they'll vote in their own policies, and they'll enrich themselves out of it. So they'll always have a stronger incentive to turn out en masse than we will. So it comes down to ultimately, how can we, and I hate to say it this way, but make them enough of, quote, the enemy to turn out our own base, because, yes, in fact, they are stealing from us and everyone else.
Okay, Mike.
And it has to be that visceral, desire to defend oneself to turn out the base. I hate to say it, but honestly, I think that's the case. Over.
So basically what we're saying here is that the left needs to force the people who are individuals to actually threaten their individualism by saying, no, you're not going to be able to live your life in freedom and in individuality anymore, because we're going to take over and we're going to become a socialist or communist society. Then that's the threat. That's got to be the threat, to bring out the people who want to be individuals.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the case already. The difference is we need to adjust our messaging to reflect that.
Yeah, younger voters aren't scared off by socialism. That's
romantic
they're fine,
to them.
They're fine with it. That's the scary part.
Yeah, well, they are until they become net taxpayers, and then they, I remember back in the year 2000 when I was only 18 years old and went to the then Libertarian Party state convention. We had a comedian, I forget his name, but he said the best way to teach your kids about taxes is to tax their Halloween candy. And I did that when I had my stepkids the first Halloween, and oh yes, it most certainly made a difference in their outlook on life.
yeah, you get a job. It's one of the best reality checks you can find is a job, and then you see those videos of a kid so excited with their first paycheck, and then they stop and they look down. They're like, "Wait a minute, where's all my money?" And then it's explained to them, "Well, government takes it."
Hey, Mike, that pendulum that we were talking, that proverbial pendulum that we're talking about, is going to have to swing to the side of Venezuela before those young people are going to see what really is truthful about socialism.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the sooner reality can smack people upside the head, the sooner they wake up and do something about it. But if you can put off that, if policymakers, well, we won't call them leaders because they're not, but our policymakers, the more they can delay that day of economic reckoning, the longer they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a guess as to what I think the Biden administration is going to do next on that. But we got an information break. Mike, appreciate you being on News Talk STL. And I'll follow that up in about 4 minutes on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Still dealing with some pretty major incidents. First of all, 70 westbound remains shut down at Highway 61. You'll be diverted northbound, exit at Route A, and then double back. 55 northbound, we've got a crash at Virginia in the work zone. Right lane closed, 12 to 15 minute delay back to Weber. 6440 westbound at Hanley, we've got a crash. 2 right lanes are closed. That traffic's at a halt back near Hampton. This report sponsored by Wendy's $3 breakfast deal. Right now at Wendy's, enjoy the $3 breakfast deal. Choose between the bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant. Got a small seasoned potatoes too for just $3, because behind every great Wendy's deal is an even greater breakfast. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Tuesday at 10:05, we'll talk to Senator-elect Nick Schroer. It'll be the first time we talk to him since the election. Can't wait to see what he has to say.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Steph's Pizza, legendary St. Louis-style pizza and pasta. Just the name makes your mouth water. Also, for your next get-together, pick up a Steph's Party Platter. And if it's Monday, you get a large pizza for the price of a small. Steph's Pizza in St. Charles County and Chesterfield Valley. Steph's Pizza is always convenient for pickup or delivery. Check them out at stephspizza.com. Tonight's a good night for legendary Steph's Pizza.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
News, analysis, opinion.
This is like a childish temper tantrum that Joe Biden's having.
101.9 and 94.1.
In the past year, there have been more than 2.2 million people crossing the border illegally.
News Talk STL. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Okay, let me follow up that thought that I had right before that information segment. It's really kind of a two-part thought. One, you've got the tactics and the strategy and the on-the-ground stuff. Okay, that's one part of it. The other part is reinventing who and what you are in your messaging and all that sort of thing. I think that I can answer this in two different things. The on-the-ground part, the get out the vote part. I think most Republicans, most conservatives agree that ballot harvesting is immoral. It is wrong. Now, it may be legal. It is legal in some areas. So go harvest the ballot. Go harvest Republican ballots, voters in those areas, while you're trying to get away with the ability to do it. But if it's legal, then go do it. Even if you think it's not something that should be legal, go do it until you can get things back to a more integrity-based election system. Okay,
well, that's like the tax system, okay?
Right.
Use the loopholes while they're there if they're legal.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why people were going on at Trump saying, oh, he made so much money on these loopholes and everything. Well, yeah, they're legal.
I would too.
He ran through them.
Absolutely.
And if they were becoming illegal, then you know what? You can't use them anymore.
Right. And so you can, now to me, it's just stop collecting somebody taxes on everybody.
Right,
That's my, okay. And then the other part is, if you're saying then, if you agree with Josh Hawley saying the Republican Party is dead as we know it, okay, then what should take place? What should be the Republican Party that takes its place? Now, you know me, you know I'm going to be the one who's going to say, well, look at what the small L libertarians, the more the Goldwater, Rand Paul, Mike Lee, look at those guys and say that's what the image should be. Did you notice the people who were so outspoken against the lockdowns, against the mandates, against the passports? They all won pretty big.
Yeah.
Rand Paul won really big.
DeSantis won huge.
Mike Lee, the ones who were so outspoken against this, they won because, among other things, they were right. But secondly, Ken, they were clearly telling people what they were for.
Right.
Not just what they were against.
Exactly. And I think that has to be the message, is let people know what they're for and what they can expect from the party. And another thing is, they've got to be fighters. This is not the same Democrat Party. This is a Democrat Party that will fight tooth and nail. And you know what? They don't care if they lose people in the process. They don't. They just want the power. They want to win. They want to become climate change globalists, WEF, whatever you call them, internationalists. I don't know what. It makes the country a second-rate.
Yeah, but that's not what they're selling, though. What
they're not selling that, but that's the bottom line for
them. I know,
them.
but what they're selling is you vote for us and this is the stuff you get. And that's what the market, that's what the voters are wanting. So how do you message small government, individual liberty, more money in your pocket? How do you message that to voters who say, well, I'll consider voting for you, but what do I get?
Well, I would say, Vic, what do you think? Do you think it would be if they see they actually have more money? If they see that the gas prices are low? If they see that their 401ks are skyrocketing because of all the different policies that are put in place by Republicans?
This is stuff they should know already, right?
Yeah.
People who voted for Donald Trump saw everything you just mentioned.
Yeah.
They should already see that, you know? And I also think when you talk about messaging, you know, let's take election denying, okay? The mainstream media uses that phrase election deniers to basically call us scumbags.
Yeah.
And Hillary Clinton and Stacey Abrams, I mean, there's plenty of election deniers on that side, you know? Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, NBC News, when they talk about that particular election, they say, well, Herschel Walker's had some domestic problems, you know, paid for an abortion. But they don't mention that Raphael Warnock ran over his wife's foot with a car and he's an abuser. You know, I've said this forever, that there's got to be some sort of accountability in the media without trampling on the First Amendment. There's got to be a way.
And you know what, Mike? We did talk about this a few days ago. That's a big factor. The left has that messaging, Mike, but they have it with the help of the propaganda wing, which is the mainstream media. The Republicans don't. That's what they have to overcome as well.
I mean, what's happened is we've obviously divided out into conservative media and then liberal media, and the liberal media is far bigger, although Fox is the number one. When you collectively add all of them up, there's more of them than there are of us. But the bottom line is, then when people think of Republican Party, what do they think of? With Democratic Party, younger voters are like, yeah, man, free college and free stuff and
Che Guevara.
Like what Ken said,
they don't think that, but yeah,
they promised things that they knew they weren't going to deliver, like the college loan thing.
Right.
They got all the young people to come out and vote for Biden. Oh, it's going to pay for my college. Oh, that was just a joke. You got to pay for it anyway. Sorry, but thanks for being a douchebag and voting for us anyway.
And do you guys think there'll be repercussions because of that?
No,
because they tried.
Right.
Now I will say this.
I think there should be. But I don't think there will be.
Here's my guess, because I was saying all along, I said, assuming that the Republicans win the House and the Senate and take control, I think the Biden administration was going to say, all right, you know, I said it before, you're going to have to start repaying your student loans, knowing that amount of money that millions of people are going to be paying back is going to take another dip into the expendable income and probably affect the economy. I think with the Democrats holding on to the Senate and the White House, and now they have a motivation to try to keep the economy on the upswing. If the Republicans were in charge, they'd actually have a political motivation to let things fall to crap. I think that I would not be surprised if the president continues the moratorium on student loan payments and then says, well, this is the best I could do. At least here's what I'm delivering.
Right.
Now, is that full of crap? Yes. But I think that's what he's probably going to do.
And the media will go right along with it. Oh, yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah. All right, Vic Borselli taking over here in about 5.5 minutes right now. Got about 20 seconds.
A guy we all know, former Speaker of the House, Tim Jones, kicks us off today.
Never heard of the guy.
I can't wait to hear what he has to say. That's crap at 9:41. Senator-elect Nick Schroer, and a new weekly interview with Drew Thomas Allen every Tuesday at 10:41. Today, Tuesday? Yeah.
Yeah, he got it right. I got it wrong later. It's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday.
Got it.
I was confused on that earlier.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent. We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. too. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Is former President Trump gearing up for another White House run? White House correspondent Greg Clugston in Palm Beach, Florida, says we'll find out later today.
After months of teasing the possibility of another presidential run, Donald Trump is set to make it official with what he calls a special announcement tonight at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. The announcement comes 1 week after the midterm elections, which were disappointing for Republicans and which have further divided the GOP over who to blame and who to embrace.
And the former president's announcement will be carried on many of these stations, and video will also be broadcast live on the Salem News Channel. Mr. Trump's announcement set for 9 tonight Eastern Time. Republicans on the verge of taking back control of the House, just 1 seat away as the vote tally continues, 14 races undecided. Amid a surge of momentum for his troops, Ukrainian President Zelensky urging the G20 leaders to tighten the screws on Vladimir Putin.
Zelensky appeals to the G20 to take further steps to press for an end to Russia's war on Ukraine. The Ukrainian president has reiterated 10 conditions for ending the conflict that began in February, among them a complete withdrawal of Russian troops and full restoration of Ukrainian control of its territory. He also calls for an international conference to, he says, cement the key elements of the post-war security architecture in the Euro-Atlantic space, including guarantees for Ukraine.